What's up, everybody? Good morning and happy Friday. TGIF DK Show coming to you from the Tanglewood Greens Cave here this morning. Big thanks for making us a part of your start if you're up and at it, whether you are listening on the radio dials, 105.1 FM, 790 AM. Available to stream up online at sportstalk1051.com. You got your app, download it, take it on the go. Your smart devices, like your smart speakers, like your Alexa devices, and the video stream that's up and rolling on YouTube as well. But a very happy Friday to you all. What do we have on our game plan for us this morning as we start to wrap up the week and look ahead to the weekend? Lots to discuss and recap last night. If you did stay up late, Brewers making a comeback win against the Dodgers. Initially, the Brewers had that 2-1 lead, but Max Muncy hitting a 3-run shot to take the lead for the Dodgers. But the Brew Crew in the ninth able to play a little small ball, put up 3 runs to take the lead, and Trevor McGill locking it down for his 22nd save of the season to get a 5-4 victory for the Brewers against the Dodgers last night. We'll recap that game, look ahead to game 2, but maybe a little bit more nervous here too because Bryce Terang now dealing with a knee injury. So just add it to another player who is dealing with an injury. Pat Murphy saying before the game, underwent an MRI, is dealing with some knee pain, getting a second opinion. Doesn't sound like it's going to be surgery. Didn't rule out potentially Terang even playing again in this series. So, but something to definitely monitor here going forward. This is a team that, let's be real, can't afford to lose a guy like Terang for a long time. But Brewers able to scrap out that W to take game 1 of this series against the Dodgers last night. But game 2 tonight, we'll take a look at that. Robert Gasser is going to be on the mound for the Brew Crew. So plenty of Brewers chat throughout this morning for the next few hours here. Also on the docket, Packers wrapping up preseason game number 1 last night. We'll recap it. If you did watch it, if you watched it, you put on your scouting cap last night. Any players kind of standing out to you? Who were the players that stood out the most for you? I've got a few guys that I'm going to throw out for your consideration that I think, like, okay, because it's all about right now impressions. Ted Thompson would always say, especially when it came to family nights for some of those younger players, want to see the whites of their eyes. So for some of these guys, it was their first pro action. Some other guys, maybe just trying to keep the dream alive or keep a job. But I think, one guy that we could probably all agree that had a good night was their kicker, Trey Smack. First drive, hits a 58-yard field goal, ends up not counting because it was a 15-yard penalty by the Steelers. By the way, a ton of penalties, 15-yarders on the Steelers last night. Holy moly, Mike McCarthy can't be a happy dude about that. But so they get, offense goes back out there. Smack ends up nailing a 37-yard field goal. I mean, made 3 field goals last night and was perfect. And technically 3 for 3, or officially 3 for 3, but you could, if you want to throw in the 58-yarder that didn't count, he would have been 4 for 4. So I think we can all agree Trey Smack had himself a nice night. Yesterday when we talked about who were the guys, who were the players that you were going to really pay attention to and really kind of follow along and kind of put your scouting cap on, he was number 1. And I think if we had to grade it, probably would say, yep, he passed last night. So now you just have to continue to stack that, right? Stack that success and continue to gain some more confidence out there. But some other players stood out to me positively, negatively. Could go both ways on this thing. So we'll hit that up as well here this morning as we put a bow on the preseason game number 1 for the Packers. We did see some of the starters play a little bit. Didn't see Aaron Rodgers play last night, but Jordan Love did play a little bit last night. So What else do we got on the docket here this morning? Hey, in case you're all about it, Buck schedule did pop last night or yesterday, did drop yesterday. So if you're wondering, the return of Giannis in Milwaukee. Well, first up, he will play Milwaukee in Miami, excuse me. But that's maybe I don't know where you're all at on the enthusiasm for the upcoming Bucks season and that. But Giannis will make his return to Milwaukee on January 28th. So they have to wait a little bit. He will play Milwaukee before that, but well, who knows too, right? Load management, injuries. It's hard to gauge all that, but that did drop yesterday too. So. Uh, Elsewhere, we'll do a little Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine inside the training room just under an hour from now. We'll definitely ask Dr. Crow about Bryce Terang and his knee injury, maybe some potential thoughts and ideas on maybe what he could be dealing with. So we'll hit that up. Also, Brandon Berg will be joining us as usual every Friday. We'll do some Carpet City Flooring Center local sports roundup with him as we getting closer and closer to kickoff for the high school football season and the fall prep season. So we got Brandon joining us here. We'll play a little AJM Automotive, Pump the Brakes, Full Throttle, and of course, a little Cream of the Crop. So if you want to participate in Cream of the Crop, you can do so, man. All right, just hit us up with a quick text on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line at 715-830-1912. Or you can also hang out in the Section 105 chat room on our video stream. So that's kind of your game plan for us this morning. So should we jump right into it? Why not? It's a TGIF. It's an open house party. We'll talk some Packers in the first hour. We'll talk some Brewers in the first hour. Late night for some Wisconsin sports fans out there. Or maybe, hey, if you're a Twins fan too, you probably were paying attention to the Field of Dreams game last night against the Phillies. I still think that's a cool thing, and Major League Baseball does that right. I mean, Paul Molitor coming out of the corn, donning the Brewers jersey. So got to see, if you maybe missed some of the clips in that, him and his son. I saw Roger Clemens and Cody Clemens, who obviously plays for the Twins. They were having a catch on the Field of Dreams field, so that was really cool. But I still think that's one of the coolest things that Major League Baseball has done, and I hope they continue to do it too. But nonetheless, we'll throw in some Brewers chat, we'll throw in some Packers chat, and wherever else the conversation may lead us. You got a topic idea, you got a segment idea, you got a question that you want to throw out there, send it on over. If we like it, we'll chat about it. All right, let's take our first break, and then we got the leadoff coming up after these quick words. And with football season nearing, preseason football in action, it's a good reminder to head over to our website, sportstalk1051.com, and sign up for our Pro Football Weekly Pick'em Challenge, brought to you by Home Oasis and Wisco's. This year, we've got a gift card from Wisco's that we're going to be given at the end of the year for the individual who has the most correct picks. So it's always a fun fun event or fun contest that we do during the football season. So go to our website, scroll down on the homepage here a little bit. This is the instructions on how to find the link, or you could just go to the Sports Talk Facebook page because we posted up the link a couple days ago. But if you just go to sportstalk1051.com, find the Win Stuff logo, image, icon, whatever the heck you want to call it. It's on the homepage. You might have to scroll down just a little bit. Okay? Click on that. And then you're going to have another window. And you're going to see the image for Pro Football Challenge. That's where you click sign up and you can start making your picks. All right? So that's where you get it done. Sign up, make your picks each week. And then maybe you can do a little bragging and potentially win some cool stuff. So, got a little time, obviously, before the regular season and such. But if you want to make sure you get in on the action, better do it right now. All right, right now. So, okay, let's get things going here this morning, shall we? We got Surveyor Sam chiming in. I see the Section 105 chat is already hopping with Bo and Joe in there. So good morning to all of you there. Surveyor Sam with a quick text on that Shoe Doctor's bullpen line. He's picking J Mike. Got a new J Mike in Green Bay, number 87, the wideout. He says I'm gonna have to change my Lindsey Pipkins Award pickup to him. The man seemed to catch everything last night and was seemingly wide open all night. Dare I say he might supplant Bo Melton. So who stood out to you outside of Trace Mack? Because I think we could all agree Trace Mack last night had himself a good night. We needed to see it. Got plenty of opportunities. He had himself a good night. A couple 58-yarders. I know one of them didn't count. But especially in the hurry up too, right before the half to hit that 58-yard, that was awesome. Those type of moments, those type of game moments. I know it's preseason, okay, but maybe getting some of the butterflies out of his system and just getting that experience. He had a good night. You want to downplay it because it's preseason, that's your prerogative, but he had himself a good night, and you just hope, okay, continue to stack that, continue to build off that, continue to gain that experience. You know, some other guys that I thought had themselves a good night. I'm gonna go Mark Perry, the safety. He was kind of technically a first-year guy, but was part of the draft last year. But number 41, and he got banged up, but he ended up coming back on the field. But I thought he had himself a good night, and seeing some of the reporters too mentioning that actually in practices he's been getting a lot of reps with the number 1 special teams group. So I maybe kind of pay attention to Mark Perry here going forward, especially because he's, a safety, and we know Jonathan Gannon likes his safeties, likes to play those 3 safeties. So when it comes to kind of cut down day and getting the roster down to 53, it'll be curious, at least for me, it'll be curious to see how many safeties the group keeps, considering too Javon Bullard is their nickel guy. Maybe they keep an extra safety or 2 because of the style of defense that Jonathan Gannon wants to run. But I thought Perry had himself a nice night, number 41 in your programs. Other than that, I thought Lucas Van Ness in his limited role, had the 1 series, had the sack, blew up some plays. I thought he looked good. Again, it's not a whole lot to work off of, okay? I don't want to say, okay, yep, he's locked and loaded, he's ready to go, he's going to have that breakout year. We don't know. I don't know. You don't know. But what we saw last night, what we have to base off of it last night, I thought Lucas Van Ness had a good first drive. Had showed some stuff out there. Zaire Franklin getting involved with the sack too with Lucas Van Ness, number 44 out there. Edrin Cooper. I will say this, and John Kuhn made a point to throw it out there. But you saw some blitzing from Jonathan Gannon last night, and he kind of compared it to the Mike Zimmer style of defense when you get into a third and long situation. And we saw that last night. Like, was it 8 dudes up in the box and just going after him? So I'm sure there's probably going to be a lot of Packers fans saying, oh, heck yes. No more of that, drop back and coverage. And this is just a preseason game, but we can have a little fun overreacting to some stuff here. But probably saw that lineup. I was like, oh, dang, are they going to be sending all of them? And then, yeah, they did send all of them. Bringing the heats on a third and kind of a long situation. So, but, some other guys that I thought that kind of stood out last night for Green Bay, if we kind of look, if we want to look at the third quarterback, Kyle McCord, I mean, you got to give the kid credit. The guy played really well yesterday or last night. Now, I think Green Bay still only carries 2 quarterbacks, but this might be the fight for the practice squad quarterback, which essentially is the third quarterback. And you got to give that kid credit. I thought he threw the ball well. He had some zip on that thing. And he looked the part. He looked comfortable out there. Byron Cox had himself a decent night. This is a guy that I think we have seen, and he made himself a name a couple of years ago in preseason. He's got the athletic talent. He's got it. He's got that ability. It's just he's always kind of been at the bottom of the depth chart and maybe hasn't gotten a ton of opportunities. And I don't know if that's going to change this year, but he's built as a 3-4 edge person. And I think, maybe early on as a 4-3 defensive end, not his best position, but he's better suited for that 3-4 style. And he had himself a decent night last night. John Williams is going to be a name that you're going to have to get familiar with. We mentioned him yesterday, but he may be that backup left tackle, that maybe even the swing tackle for Green Bay. So know the name John Williams because, knock on wood, Jordan Morgan looked solid last night. He got some extra reps. I thought he looked solid last night in that left tackle spot. But John Williams is going to be a guy that you might have to know in case he does come in to play some valuable reps this year for Green Bay. I will say, some guys that maybe didn't have the greatest nights and something to monitor going forward. I thought, first of all, Brandon Cisse, I'll say this. Brandon Cisse, to me, is clearly CB1. He's cornerback number 1. That's evident. And part of it is evident, too, because of Keyshawn Nixon. I don't think he's fighting for a job, but he might be fighting for a job in the starting lineup. It was just kind of a lackluster performance last night. I mean, I get it. It's preseason, okay? But there was a play where it just kind of like didn't really put a whole lot of effort into a tackle and led to a bigger play, a bigger gain for Pittsburgh. And again, it's preseason. I understand that. But the fact that he was kind of out there for a little bit longer, too, and then we saw him practice last week after family night, that he was kind of working with some 2s, even with the 3s. So I don't know. I think your starting cornerback group to open the season will still be Nixon and Brandon Cisse, but I'll throw the question back out like I did on Wednesday. How long is that leash for Keyshawn Nixon? How long is that leash going to be? Maybe it might be a little bit longer just because of the depth. Benjamin St. Juste, he had a nice effort play. It was that long gain from Pittsburgh, and he ended up running it down from the backside. It's those type of plays. I mean, we just talked about maybe a little bit of a lack of effort from Keyshawn Nixon. That wasn't a lack of effort from Benjamin St. Juste on that one play. Does that going to pop up in film with the coaches? You betcha. You know that's going to be mentioned today or tomorrow whenever they get together and go through the film. So I still think it's going to open up with Nixon and Cisse as the starters. But if Benjamin St. Juste, the newcomer, puts together some good performances in preseason, in camp, in practices, maybe even the early regular season games, and Nixon maybe continues to struggle a little bit, I think if you're Green Bay, you seriously have to make you might have to make a decision here. It's just I've not been impressed with Nixon's effort, even going back to last year too. It's just I don't know. Something about it is kind of, but just I don't like calling out players for a lack of effort at times, because I mean we're just what we see on TV. We don't know what's going on behind scenes, communication, that sort of thing. But there were plays last year. It's like, dude, what the heck? So, it's going to be interesting with that quarterback battle. We opened up training camp, we opened up preseason as that being one of the biggest question marks, and it's gotten a little bit more confusing. It's gotten a little bit more confusing because I think Brandon Cisse again has elevated himself to CB1. Carrington Valentine's been out with a hamstring injury, so Darian Kennard too is kind of an interesting one from last night. I mean, he was playing because it seemed like, okay, this is going to be the guy. He's the swing tackle. He's the backup right tackle. He's a veteran. He was playing well into the fourth quarter last night, and I don't know if that's because of the emergence of John Williams. But is he maybe kind of fighting for a roster spot here too? Maybe, possibly, something to maybe kind of watch in the next couple of preseason games coming up here for Green Bay. Now, maybe it just might be much ado about nothing, but I think it's kind of something to pay attention to here. The fact that I thought he was kind of a lock to make the roster, and to see him playing deep into the fourth, maybe a little bit of a roster bubble. But I was that offensive line towards the end, whew, it was rough. It was rough. Yeah. And I think, no offense to those guys who were out there, but you probably don't want to see that one. You don't want to see that group out there anytime soon. So, who else stood out to you, though? Anybody else? Obviously, again, Trace Mack is the popular one. Okay, we get that. Trace Mack was the popular one. But who else out there maybe kind of stood out to you, or you think had a good night? Hit me up with a text, 715-830-1912. All right, we got to take a quick break. Plenty more to get to here this morning. We'll be right back in just a couple minutes. Got Mark here with a quick text on that Shoe Doctor's bullpen line that says, didn't make it to the end of the Brewers game last night, wrote it off as a 4-2 loss and went to bed. It was more than a pleasant surprise this morning to pick up my phone and see the final score. I bet I'm not the only one. I bet you are not the only one either, Mark. I don't blame a lot of people for going to bed, and you got Edwin Diaz on the mound to close it out, and a Brewers offense. Yeah, bunch of small ball, bunch of singles. We'll get back to some Brewers talk here in just a skosh. Bo, to answer your question, Matthew Golden did play last night, so I mean he didn't show up in the box score in the stat sheet because he played the one drive and didn't have a pass thrown to him. But Matthew Golden was out there. He was playing. So, but yeah, Brewers last night, a nice surprising win. To maybe it was a nice surprise if you're just waking up and you didn't check your phone yet. Brewers did take Game 1 last night against the Dodgers, a 5-4 victory. Brewers initially had a 2-1 victory heading into the bottom of the 6th. Shane Drowan getting into a little bit of trouble, and then the newcomer Senzatella giving up a 3-run shot to Max Muncy. Dodgers taking the lead there, and I don't blame Brewers fans for saying, "Oh, that's the game." You know, that's the game. Not gonna overcome a 4-2 deficit against the Dodgers in the Dodger Stadium, and single, 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 death by 1,000 paper cuts. Jake Bauers with the go-ahead RBI. Brewers are able to put up 3 in the bottom of the ninth, and Trevor McGill was able to lock it down. Brewers come away with a Game 1 victory. Brewers actually out-hit the Dodgers, too. 10-4. Just 4 hits from the Dodgers last night. But Shane Drowan, 3 passes, 3 walks. So Shane Drowan's line, 5 1/3, 3 hits, 3 earned runs, 3 walks, 5 Ks. Not awful, not bad. The big thing is the free passes, the walks. Got to cut that down. Sasaki, though, he had 5 walks too last night. He gave up 2 earned runs, 2 Ks, but he issued 5 walks. DL Hall coming in, actually picked up the win, 2 innings. Dude looks sharp. Didn't give up a single hit. Didn't give up a single walk. 3 Ks. You take the wins any way possible. In this series right now, with your team a little bit banged up, offense not playing the greatest, you take it any way possible. The fact that we are seeing right now William Contreras, batting 7th, tells you all you need to know right now about Pat Murphy and the Brewers trying to put together a lineup that's going to lead to something. This was your top 4 hitters when they turned in that lineup card yesterday. Jackson Chirio, Garrett Mitchell, Gary Sanchez, Jake Bauers. Bauers, okay. Home run dude. Chirio, okay. But Mitchell, Sanchez, batting in the 3 spot. Vaughn, 5th, 2 hits. Then it was Yelly. Then Contreras. Joey Ortiz found himself with 2 hits last night, including a walk. So he was on base 3 times last night. And Contreras is him and Yelly. Yelly nearly that 8th inning shot. It's like, oh, so close. But Contreras, look at this is a great. His last 25 at-bats for Contreras. He's grinding through some struggles right now. Contreras' last 25 at-bats, his average, 0.040. 0.040. Not great. His last 110 at-bats, 145 average. So we have paid a lot of attention and talked a lot about the struggles of Christian Yelich at the plate. But you look at what Contreras right now is doing. I mean, Yelly right now, Christian Yelich has better numbers than Contreras. Yelich in his last, I'm not saying they're worlds better. Or there's like, oh, hey, Yelich has played awesome. But in Yelich's last 114 at-bats, Yelich is 202. Again, Contreras, 145. Yelich has a slightly higher on-base percentage. So we've been hyper-focused on Yelich, but Contreras, just grinding through something. And then you add in that Bryce Terang was not in the lineup last night because of what Pat Murphy said before the game, some knee pain. Now, he had an MRI. Pat Murphy did say it doesn't sound like surgery or anything like that. Getting a second opinion, but he didn't rule him out potentially playing in this series. It's a weird situation, and I'm going to ask Dr. Crow about maybe some possibilities with this thing, but we can't have Terang be missing some long extended time. It can't happen. We need this guy back. Obviously, I don't want him out there playing hurt and potentially making it worse or being a detriment to his team. So, Brewers fans, we got to do whatever we can. Pray to whatever baseball gods, whatever, and say, just please let there not be anything majorly wrong with Bryce Terang. Which, with that lineup last night that they threw out there, maybe makes that win a little bit more impressive that they were able to grind through that. But man, Joey Ortiz just continues to hit, continues to get on base. On base 3 times last night. 2 hits, also a walk. Didn't strike out. Joey Ortiz in his last 87 at-bats. 333. On base of a 389, and he is slugging 540. His last 7 games, Joey Ortiz is hitting 400, an on base of 500. I can't believe we're saying thank goodness for Joey Ortiz's bat right now. Boy, who would have thunk that, huh? Pretty much, I mean, it might be at the point here where you look at this offensive lineup so far for the Brewers, it's like, hey, Joey Ortiz might be batting in the 3rd spot here. But going back to Terang here, just quick, some comments from Pat Murphy before the game. Said that Terang had been experiencing some knee pain for some time, and it reached a point where he needed some time off. We don't know how long. They're saying day to day. But we just, going through another second opinion. Again, but they don't really know, or at least he's saying that they don't really have a good game. Didn't rule out anything past this series. So maybe we'll see him tonight. Maybe we'll see him this weekend, or maybe we'll see him or we won't see him for a long time. But please. So, but Murphy indicated that the initial read, quote, did not reveal anything to be too worried about. It suggested that whatever was causing Terang's pain could be cured with rest. How much rest? How long? That's going to be a big question here. Game 2 tonight. Robert Gasser is going to be on the mound here for the Brew Crew. Robert Gasser, which version are we going to get from him? I think that to me is always, or is kind of the big question here. Yamamoto's on the other side of the mound. He's bringing his 11-7 record and a 2.65 ERA. There's a little bit of experience with Brewers hitters going up against him, about a game's worth. But Vaughn, he's got a home run against him. He's hitting 504 career at bats. Bauer's 502 career at bats. I mean, that's not a whole lot there. Same on the other side. You're looking at maybe a game's worth of experience with Robert Gasser going up against this Dodgers lineup. But Gasser, his last game was that game against the Twinnies back on the 8th, where he went 4 2/3. He gave up 7 hits and 3 earned runs, issued a couple walks, had 3 strikeouts. And Robert Gasser, if we look at what he's kind of done lately here, in 2 games in August, he's got a 3.72 ERA. Angels, he gave up 1 earned run, 3 earned runs against the Twinnies. And really, when you look at his last 4 games, since that Pittsburgh game on July 12th, where he gave up 7 earned runs, he bounced back, 1 earned run against Miami, 2 earned runs against Colorado, 1 earned run against the Angels, 3 earned runs against Minnesota. And you look at his month-by-month statistics, ERA, June, 3.95, July, 4.98, August so far, 3.72. I think the biggest thing here is, can we get maybe 5-6 innings out of Robert Gasser, because he has gone, he's consistently been between that 5 and 6 range in terms of innings. He did go that 7 2/3 against St. Louis back on July 7th, but then he's only hit up 6 innings once since then, and that was July 25th. Otherwise, you're looking at 3, 5, 6, 5, 4 2/3. If we could somehow get somewhere between 5 and 6, and because I think this bullpen, they're going to be asked to do a lot in this series against the Dodgers. On the flip side, you got Yamamoto. He's coming off of no decision against the Diamondbacks, where he went 5 2/3 and he gave up no earned runs. Before that, it was a loss against Boston, where he went 8 innings and gave up 3 earned runs. But I mean, Yamamoto, he's pitched in some big games, big moments, right? August so far, a 1.98 ERA. July, he had a 2.89 ERA. June, a 2.22 ERA. May, a 2.84 ERA. April, a 2.84 ERA. This season, he's got a 2.65 ERA. Runs are probably going to be a little hard to come by tonight. It's going to have to be another grinded out, small ball type of performance from this Brewers offense to try to manufacture some runs, and there's going to be a lot of pressure on Robert Gasser and his pitching staff to not give up a ton of runs. Those, to me, are going to be the big keys for the Brewers tonight. All right, we got to take our final break for this first hour. We'll be right back in just a couple minutes. Coming up just past the top of the hour here, we'll catch up with the good doc, Dr. Austin Crow, for a little inside the training room. Brought to you by Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. Then after that, we'll have Brandon Berg joining us. We'll get back to some more Brewers talk with him. We've got more Packers reaction from preseason game numero uno in the books. Who stood out to you outside of Trace Mack? That's the easy answer. All right. Who else stood out to you? Put your scouting caps on like we asked last night. That was your homework assignment. What other players stood out to you in last night's game? Don't pay attention to wins and losses in the preseason, okay? Just don't do that. But so you can hit us up with a quick text on that Shoe Doctor's bullpen line at 715-830-1912, or you can hang out in the section 105 chats and chat with the rest of the listeners out there. So also, if you want to make some picks for cream of the crop, you could do so. Make those as well. We've got a little Pump the Brakes, Full Throttle, brought to you by AJM Automotive, coming up in the 8 o'clock hour. And we've got some local sports roundup, brought to you by Carpet City Flooring Center. I know high school football nearing kickoff. We've got, other fall sports in action, volleyball, golf, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we'll do a local sports roundup with Brandon. I know Brandon has been doing a lot of covering of some Chippewa County high school football teams, so make sure you check it all out at chippewa.com or pick up the paper version too. So, but we'll chat about all that with Mr. Berg coming up a little bit later on here this morning. So, we've got some more picks for people who stood out to them from the Packers preseason game yesterday. Ben says number 41, which is Mark Perry. Kevin says Marshawn Lloyd, I thought, ran the ball well. I thought Marshawn Lloyd's, if you look at it from a box score stat-wise, it's probably not going to be eye-popping, but I'm glad Green Bay got some work in with him. He looked like he was fresh, healthy. So, yeah. Curious to see what the plan is going to be continuing going forward with Marshawn Lloyd. How many more reps? How long are they going to, kind of throw him out there? You just got to, like John Kuhn said in the broadcast last night, you kind of holding your breath every time he's running the football or he's out there and just, like, making sure nothing happens. Another texter, don't have a name, can't give any credit, but they threw in Jordan Morgan. Looked impressive last night. So, and then Kevin says Jordan Love looked like he threw the ball well last night. Okay. Another texter, don't have a name, says Jaden Reed. So, all right, a lot of you going with starters with, just playing the first drive. So, all right, I get that. Yeah, we had a couple of Lucas Van Ness picks too. Greg and Rick both picking Lucas Van Ness as players who stood out to them. So if you got any others, maybe, some backup players, some of the role players, some of the depth players, throw that on over too. All right, hit me up on that Shoe Doctor's bullpen line with some of the other players who stood out to you. We've got, David talking about the Brewers. David says, I went to bed as well, thinking that the Brewers weren't going to win the game, was a pleasant surprise to hear you this morning say that they did, in fact, win the game last night. A grinded out Pat Murphy, small ball, typical Brewers game. With all the injuries and their backs against the wall, it was good to see that team not give up and still fight to the end. Hope Bryce Terang's knee injury isn't anything serious. So, yeah, I just, I watched it and I'm like, I'll be honest, I didn't think the Brewers were going to have any. As soon as Muncy hit that home run, I thought it was done, and I probably should have just went to bed. And kind of glad I did because it was like single, 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 single. Small ball, baby. Small ball. C-Bob says McCord looked great for a third stringer. He made one throw in particular, rolling to his left with a guy in his face. That was awesome. Preseason is so hard to judge. Also on the defensive side of the ball, I thought Ford looked good. All right, some good picks there. I like that. But we've got, Kyle McCord. I mentioned him in mine too. And it's, it's kind of, I don't think Green Bay will carry 3 quarterbacks. But hey, if McCord if he gets another opportunity and he looks good again, maybe Green Bay might be forced to keep him so they don't put him on waivers and another team picks him up. I know we're getting a little ahead of ourselves here, but yeah, he might be the guy right now. If they don't carry 3 quarterbacks, it's that practice squad quarterback that they can bring up. But he looked sharp last night. He definitely looked sharp last night. So we'll have more reaction to last night's game. Continue to hit us up, all right, on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line with a quick text at 715-830-1912. Also, you can hit us up in the Section 105 chat and join the chat with some other listeners over there. We've got Dr. Crow coming up just past 7 o'clock, so we'll maybe get his expertise and his thoughts on something that may be going on with Bryce Terang and that knee injury. After that, Brandon Berg will join us, and we'll get back to some more baseball talk and all that fun stuff. If you got a good segment or topic, please text it on over, and if we like it, we'll throw it out there for consideration. Okay, it's TGIF. It's a little open house party on this Friday morning. All right, shot clock's going to cut me off. 1 hour already in the books. Hour 2 coming up after these quick news updates. All right, here we go. Second hour, kick it off on this Friday morning. A big thanks for hanging out with us, making us a part of your starts. Coming up here in just a little bit, we'll catch up with Brandon Berg. We'll do some local sports roundup as we get set for high school football. The season kicking off here shortly, so we'll catch up on that. I know Brandon's been hitting the trail and catching some practices with some teams, so we'll chat with him about that. We've got our Pump the Brakes Full Throttle. Also, we'll get back to some more preseason recap and Brewers talk as Game 2 with the Dodgers coming your way tonight. Hey, speaking of high school football, let's chat with Coach / Dr. Austin Crow, Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. Good morning, Austin. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic.
Are you getting ready for season? Is it starting to, with all practices and that, are you getting anxious to actually get on the field for games that matter at this point?
Yeah, we have a scrimmage here coming up this morning. So as soon as we finish up, I'm actually heading up to Carson Park. We have your boys, Medford, coming to town along with Edgar and St. Croix Falls. So we got a scrimmage here this morning. So first time playing against people in a different scrimmage. We had our inter-squad scrimmage last week. I think everyone's excited to get things going. It's crazy. We're already 2 weeks into the season here, basically. So it's again, I think guys are ready to hit someone with a different jersey still.
Yeah, definitely.
That point.
Yeah, that's a good group of teams that you guys coming over for a scrimmage too.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I think everyone was pretty dang solid last year, so it should be some good matchups. Kind of get a chance to kind of your own little litmus test and see where your strengths and weaknesses lie. And it should be great. It'll be fun.
Absolutely. Well, hey, I got to lead off asking you, Bryce Terang. So yesterday, the Brewers' second baseman did not play in last night's game against the Dodgers, and Pat Murphy beforehand said that he's been dealing with some knee pain for a while now, and it got to a point where that he couldn't. They had to do something about it, and he underwent an MRI, and now Pat Murphy being coy about it, saying that they didn't find anything that would lead to surgery and that they feel like rest could, help the situation. But he is going under a second MRI. He did rule out, though, either that he could be playing in this series. So, I mean, anything that kind of maybe pops into your mind that maybe he's dealing with that knee injury?
Yeah, I mean, there's a huge, potential window of things that could be causing this. I mean, clearly it's not something major structural. So, major ligament injury, significant meniscal injury, those you can pretty much say, okay, the MRI would likely have shown that. My suspicion is it's going to be one of two things. One would be, a tendon-based problem. So certainly we're in the point of the season where guys have been putting a lot of miles on their legs, if you will. So you could be dealing with like a patellar tendonitis, hamstring tendonitis, things like that are just kind of annoying. And they're not serious in the sense of like, oh boy, his season is in jeopardy, but they can be real annoying. I mean, they can be painful. They certainly can change how explosive a player can be as far as running and moving. So I think that's got to be high on the list. The other is the potential for, maybe like a subtle cartilage based thing. So some people have some mild areas of wear in a knee that isn't necessarily a big problem, but can flare up from time to time. So I'd say those are probably two things. And we do occasionally get repeat MRIs to monitor those. Again, is it possible it's something more significant? Yeah, but he didn't have a true injury per se. I mean, right? They didn't like cart him off the field after twisting the knee. So major structural stuff is very unlikely. It's a much more common scenario to be dealing with again, like a tendon based problem or something like that. That would be my guess.
Staying with knee injuries, I know we talked about him just a couple weeks ago, but 49ers wide receiver Ricky Purcell, who originally last year had a PCL injury, and he just had surgery again, re-aggravated that injury, so he's out this year. With that type of ligament injury, re-aggravating it and having another surgery, does that make the road to recovery for him to get back on the field just a little bit harder?
It does. And correct me if I'm wrong. I think didn't they try non-op it last year, or did he
Yeah.
actually have surgery?
Oh, I think you're right. Yeah, I don't think. Yeah.
Yeah, because a revision surgery, and that's my understanding is what he injured last year. They tried to non-op it because
Hmm.
yeah, and we've touched on this in the past a bit. So every ligament is different, right? I mean, of course it is, but specifically when we're talking about the setting of ability to heal itself. So an ACL tear that's complete really just doesn't have much of an opportunity to heal itself. So that's why we generally treat all high-grade ACL injuries with reconstruction. PCLs are different. The PCL it's got a little bit of a synovial fold over it, so it's actually outside the joint. And so its ability to heal itself is much more significant. So there are a lot of times where we see an isolated PCL injury, which it sounds like his is, and say, look, okay, yeah, it's a significant injury to this ligament, but with time and rehab, we can often get it to do well enough. Now, you'll test the knee side to side. You're like, okay, this is clearly the knee. You got a PCL injury, and so there's some movement, but it's stable, and the athlete's able to run and jump and do things they want to do. But sometimes, despite all that, it just doesn't get good enough. And so it's obviously not a binary switch where it's like bad, 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 then one day it's good, right? It's a spectrum. So sometimes you're rehabbing and say, look, it's getting better, the legs feel better, all the things look good, and all of a sudden they try to go 100%. It's like, nope, it just isn't stable enough. Then you go back, and at this point, he's almost certainly getting a reconstruction. So there's a couple different techniques for doing it, but essentially, you're going to be just like an ACL. You're going to take a graft from somewhere else, put it where the PCL was. We do know that if you look at success rates for PCLs, they are not huge difference, but they're definitely not as good as ACLs. ACLs have a really, really high rate of return. PCLs, it's probably 5 or 10% less than that. So, and when we get done, usually you can examine a knee that's had an ACL reconstruction. We test it, you're like, that feels almost like a normal knee. PCLs often have a little bit of loosening that happens over time, so you can test the knee and say, all right, there's just a little bit of wiggle to it, but they still usually do well clinically. So there's a very good chance he'll get back. But if you had to pick between ACL and PCL, I would definitely say PCL is a little more variability as far as the long-term prognosis.
Staying with the 49ers last night in their preseason game, backup quarterback Curtis Rourke ended up going to the hospital, they said, because he was having trouble breathing. Now, they said x-rays didn't show anything broken with his ribs, according to Kyle Shanahan at the stadium. Any possible ideas on maybe potentially what he was going through last night?
I mean, that's anytime you see shortness of breath in an athlete, that especially if they've taken a hit where you're worried about a rib injury. I mean, number one on your list by a mile has got to be a collapsed lung, so what we call a pneumothorax. So now you don't actually have to break a rib to get a pneumothorax, but they're usually associated with a rib fracture. But athletes can have they're called blebs. They're like a little weak spot in the lung, and if you take a hit in quote unquote the wrong spot, you can collapse the lung that way. Sounds like they would have said that. So if he had a collapsed lung, they certainly would have announced that. So it is possible you just have a really bad chest contusion. And when we breathe, most of what we do as far as breath is related to the diaphragm. So it's a muscle that basically sits between our thorax and our abdomen and basically flexes up and down. But the intercostals, so muscles in the ribs, also aid with breathing. So with a real bad rib injury, sometimes athletes will just say, I'm having a hard time breathing. And then there's a little bit of an element of like all of a sudden you start to feel, I don't want to use the word panic attack, but people start getting real nervous because if you feel like you can't breathe, then sometimes it spirals and they start hyperventilating and have a harder time breathing. So it may have been a situation where a bad chest contusion resulted in some feelings of shortness of breath. And again, you don't play around with those at all because a collapsed lung, I mean, generally those aren't going to be, life threatening. They can be. And so as soon as we see that, it's like, all right, get that assessed and evaluated right away. So I'm sure they shipped him to the hospital, and it sounds like everything came back negative. So hopefully he'll bounce back quickly. But my guess is the ultimate diagnosis will be chest contusion.
Last night, watching the Packers game, there was a safety for Green Bay, Mark Perry, and he made a tackle and he was down, holding kind of his shoulder. It looked like he was in a lot of pain, and then got up and he was kind of moving his arm around. And I made a comment to Hudson. I'm like, well, maybe it's a stinger. Hopefully, it's a stinger. Then John Kuhn said, hopefully, it's a stinger. So Hudson's like, well, what's a stinger? I'm like, so I explained it, but I'm like, you know what? Let's we're at that time of year with football and stingers. Let's kind of recap it with Dr. Crow. When you hear announcers and people say, well, hopefully it's a stinger, or it sounds kind of weird to say hopefully it's just a stinger, but what exactly is a stinger
Yeah.
for some people who don't know?
Yeah, yeah. Well, anyone who's had one knows they don't feel good. I think you'd mentioned you had one when you played,
Yep.
and I've had a couple. So what it is generally it's a downward blow to the shoulder. So your shoulder and head get pushed in opposite directions, and it pulls on the group of nerves as they run down your arm. So it's called basically a traction brachial plexus injury. Now, stingers, in what we're kind of talking about here, are basically the most mild version of it. So it pulls in the nerves. The nerves immediately get very upset. So you get this real searing, burning pain down the arm. Often for, seconds to a couple minutes, your arm literally stops working sometimes. I mean, you're like, I can't move my arm. Part of it's pain related. Part of it, the nerve is just like, look, you just tugged on me. I'm going to take a break for a second here. It's like kind of protective mechanism. You certainly can have a really severe traction injury where you do actually get true nerve damage. That's really rare. Usually that's going to be very high speed things. So like we'll see that in people on motorcycles that fall and they're going 40 miles an hour and hit a tree. They can literally sever nerves by traction. In football, that is exceptionally rare. 99%, if not more, of football ones are going to be basically a hit, arm burns, goes numb. But usually 30 seconds, a minute, the pain starts to go away. Strength comes back. We usually, again, same thing within a handful of minutes, and then all of a sudden it feels back to normal. But yeah, for the brief moment, it's kind of getting the wind knocked out of you. For a split second, you're like, I don't think I'm ever going to breathe again, right? It's that like it's that
Hmm.
horrible feeling. Same thing with the stinger. It hurts and it's searing pain, and then bam, the nerve calms down, and you're like, all right, yeah, I feel good again. So they're not dangerous. And again, with rare exceptions, they're not dangerous. So yeah, you see a guy holding his arm. That's usually the first thing I'm hoping is like, I hope it's a stinger. I think the same exact thing because those are benign, they're self-limited, and then the athletes bounce back really quickly. So again, really, basically it's a traction or pulling on the nerves as they go down from the neck to the arm.
Just kind of a general question too, because I was looking earlier this morning at some of the injury reports, and Buffalo apparently just likes to use the term lower body injury for like all their players on this injury
It's like the
report.
NHL.
Right? Yeah, exactly. So when I mean lower body, is that essentially like probably the leg or a knee or an ankle injury?
Yeah, in all likelihood. I mean, obviously, clearly, it can mean anything, but it is. I mean, I think if I recall the NHL, that's the designation they use. They see
Hmm.
upper body, lower body, or like chest or something. So they're really nebulous with what they say. Clearly, in the NFL, they tend to be much more specific. And in fact, they'll often say exactly what it is. And so if they're talking lower body, it really could be anything from the hip down. I mean, clearly most commonly it's going to be knees, ankles. Those are the joints that are most commonly injured in football players. So it's likely one of those.
All right, before I let you go here, before you get off to your scrimmage, Kyler Murray, your starting quarterback to open up the
Hmm.
season. Your thoughts? I mean, were you a little surprised they announced it this early, or do you think it's a good idea just to get it out of the way because everybody knew this was probably going to be the case?
A little bit of all the above. I mean, I think if you look at the outcome, am I surprised? Not at all. I mean, when they brought him in, I think a lot of people, thought odds-on favorite was going to be Murray. Did I think maybe they're going to get a little bit of a battle going into actual preseason games? It wouldn't have surprised me. But that being said, if you're going to go with a guy, you might as well get him the reps. So I suppose from that sense, if they felt like he really stood out as the better of the two, then yeah, get him in the spot and let him go. I mean, competition can be healthy. Sometimes it can be not so healthy. But Kyler's in the contract season. He's got to prove himself, and I think they're going to put the chips on him. And I guess we got to see how it plays out. Am I happy? I I hope long term JJ works out for us as well. But um, hopefully Murray is able to produce. And again, for all those reasons I mentioned, he should be in line for a good season.
He's Dr. Austin Crowe, Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. Best of luck at the scrimmage today, bud. Looking forward to catching up with you and previewing your first game coming up here very soon. Have a good weekend, and we'll catch up soon, okay?
Absolutely. Take care.
You got it. There you go. There's Dr. Austin Crowe, Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. Let's take a quick break, and we'll get Mr. Berg, Brandon Berg, coming up after these few words. Again, just a reminder with the pro football season coming up here very soon with preseason games underway. Don't forget to sign up for our Pro Football Weekly Pick'em Challenge. Just go to our website at sportstalk1051.com and click on the Win Stuff tab. So it's on the homepage. You might have to scroll down just a little bit. You'll see the image. It says Win Stuff on there. Click on that. It'll open up another window, and then you're going to see the image for Pro Football Pick Challenge, I think is what it says. Click on that, sign up, and you can make your picks. The individual with the most amount of picks right, with the most amount of points, because there's going to be tiebreakers and all that in there. You're going to win. You're going to win some prizes. Got some gift cards from Wisco's and all that fun jazz. So big thanks to Home Oasis and Wisco's for partnering with us this year. Hey, Brandon Berg finally shows up, everybody. Yeah, let's give him a round of applause. Just walks into the cave like he owns it and such. Good morning, sir.
I might be trash talking the guy that's giving you some dice right now. So,
come on.
You know what? It's my fault. When I was in Chippewa, I was a good person and let some people that were in a crosswalk walk. So you know what? I'm sorry for being a good person.
That's not being a good person. That's following the law.
Isn't that kind of the same thing?
How are you, man?
Not too bad. How are you?
Are you doing, you got to go up to scrimmage? You got some football scrimmages today, right?
Yep. So. After this, I will be bopping up to DeRay Field for the scrimmage. Chippewa Falls, Eau Claire North, Northwestern, and Sparta, I believe, are the four. So
nice.
Yep.
I know we were just talking with Dr. Crow over at Carson. It's Regis, it's Medford, it's Edgar, St. Croix Falls. So a good group of teams over there, too.
Teams there, too, yeah.
But so does that mean next week it's kickoff week?
Oh, yeah, next Thursday night's the first night of games.
Nice. So we'll hit that up coming up here in a little bit with some local sports roundup brought to you by Carpet City Flooring Center. But let's talk. I want to talk some Brewers here with you first because a couple people have already asked this. I know we've touched on this before, Brandon. They want to know why Andrew Fisher's not being called up. Well, first of all, he's not even hitting that well this month. I was looking at some of his numbers. But, the offense obviously is dealing with some injuries. Bryce Strang now's got a knee injury. I don't even want to take Joey Ortiz out of the lineup for what he's hitting here. I mean, I get it. 36 home runs this year for Andrew Fisher, what he did in the World Baseball Classic. But it's a pretty big jump from Double-A to the major leagues.
Right. It'd be one thing if he was knocking on the door, and I think prior to him going on the injured list, I think there was also some talk about Luke Adams as well.
Mm-hmm.
And he was someone that was, doing what he's all, basically his numbers at AAA are pretty much what they've always been, where he's only hitting around 250, but there's power in there and he's got an on base over 400. I mean, that's a guy that just walks a ton.
Mm-hmm.
But now he's injured, so that's not an option either. So, it's it's a grind right now.
Yeah.
With the injuries, with the long stretch of games here that comes to an end after Sunday where they finally get an off day.
Yeah.
I don't think there's really a better way to say it than it's just a grind right now and just kind of trying to do your best to, get through it.
Yeah. It doesn't help. It's like all worlds colliding here at this point. It feels like with the injuries, the schedule, the Cubs playing better. Now you had Terang's injury, and then Yelich and Contreras not doing a whole lot offensively. I mean, the fact we've been so hyper-focused on Yelich. Contreras has been worse if you look at it from a number standpoint.
Right, especially, and I think, too, part of it is you're grading on a curve. I think people, if you're coming into the year, we didn't probably know what to expect so much from Yelich, but Contreras definitely, I think, more was expected. And it's kind of odd because, the last few years, the talk with him has been the finger, the thumb.
Mm-hmm.
How, well, okay, and I think the one year he didn't get surgery on it, and then it was still bugging him, and then he got surgery on it. Now this year he's been even worse. Like, I'm not saying that's related, but it's just that we haven't heard anything that leads to believe that, he's dealing with something. I mean, I'm sure he's just banged up because, he's a catcher that plays a lot. But, and that's the thing. This is a team that needs its bigger names to come through just because it's not going to always be able to have that, that veteran depth as much as other teams. Just
Yep.
So, when you've got Contreras struggling. You got Yelich, struggling, even though there's been some signs of life here, I guess, these last few days with, hitting the ball hard and, I would
nearly hitting it out in the eighth last
nearly
night.
hitting it on the, but still, like, it's one of those reasons there was a lineup last night where you had Gary Sanchez and Andrew Vaughn playing the corners.
Yeah, and Gary Sanchez batting third and Mitchell batting in the second spot.
Now Mitchell has gone from red hot to ice cold between July and August, but had the big hit last night. And at this point, you're just looking for someone that's got kind of got a pulse.
Yeah.
And Sanchez with the plate, even though he can kind of be, I think, frustrating for some people at times because he's kind of feast or famine, but like, he's definitely been one of their better hitters overall, even if sometimes it's kind of up and down.
Right.
So you got to, you're kind of in that spot where it's like, okay, look, we just got to get it, everybody in the lineup that we can somehow. And if it looks a little odd, if it maybe looks like a slow pitch team at times at the corners, maybe a little shades of that 2018 team where you had Travis Shaw playing second base.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, so be it.
And the other part of this too is like, you would think, okay, some of the injuries. Well, even Jet Williams is hurt, so it's like you can't even call him up to,
right.
to be a contributor.
It just kind of is what it is, and there's only so much you can do now as far as maybe plucking people off the waivers or free agency. I mean, obviously G1 Bay. I mean, he's someone that a week or two from now is probably not going to be here.
Right.
It's just kind of what they need right now, but. This happens. I mean, he'll be in 2 or 3 years, he'll be a fun one to use in Immaculate Grid because people will be like, oh yeah, that's right, he played there. So like I kind of like Lance McCullers,
right?
But obviously a little bit different situation there. But yeah, right now it's just a grind trying to get through it. And, it's just that it's at a time when they're on the West Coast and they're playing playoff teams, and they obviously, you look at the Padres series and. The frustrating thing about that is, that's a series where if the offense was better, if the offense was even decent, they could have won 2 of those 3 games.
Yeah, and that's a Padres team that is better than what they were, just a couple months ago. Would you? I mean, they offensively, I
think so. You've got some of those
guys.
guys.
Renhefo now hitting grand slams against us and playing left field and batting leadoff.
I'm never wrong, just early. But yeah, I mean that was just kind of, in some ways, kind of one of those Murphy's Law series is a little bit where, they just didn't, it just wasn't
runners
clicking.
in scoring position had issues that whole series.
Right. I mean, you look at the month of August, and the Brewers have scored more than 5 runs 3 times.
Yeah.
And 2 of them are 5 runs. They haven't scored more than 6 runs in a game yet this month. And we're about
and yet I saw this the other day. They've got the second best on base percentage.
Right. And
since June 1st.
Right. And if as we're all watching these games, that's probably not too much of a surprise because the team does take its walks.
Yeah.
Like it's just, and part of the thing that comes with the numbers with runners in scoring position, which is always going to be in focus, is the Brewers just have them a lot. So when you have a lot of them, they stick out.
Yeah.
Especially when it's not, really clicking as much as it could.
Right. Yeah. We're going to talk some more Brewers here in just a skosh, but let's take a quick break. And again, if you want to chime in, you have a topic, you got a question, thought, idea, whatever, send it on over. All right. Text us on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line or hit us up on the Section 105 chat room. So we'll try to go through some of those messages over there. I know we got a group of folks over there kind of hanging out and dishing it out over there. So we'll take a quick break. Back with plenty more coming up after these few words. hard to believe it's been a week already since, I mean, this time last week, Surveyor, Philly fan Dave, and a few others were teeing it up for the outing. So again, a big thanks to everybody. A big thanks to Brandon for you got a green jacket for a reason. So I mean but big thanks for all the golfers and sponsors and partners too. Hopefully you all had a fun time.
Right.
So.
I mean, that's what it's about.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, ideally we're getting people there that are there for the reasons to have fun, to help out a great cause, and you're not, going super serious with it. I mean,
right.
But yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'll wait till now to say it because I mean, we got a little ruffled in the afternoon, but we've had unbelievably good luck with the weather.
Yeah, we did. I was a little nervous there
because in the afternoon session they had to slow down a little bit just because there was some passing showers that went through.
Yeah.
But like throughout the years, just we've always had I can think of one year it was really, really hot.
Yeah.
But otherwise, for the most part, we've had good luck.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you, Mother Nature.
Thank you.
And Brother Nature.
Because I was getting nervous too, even beforehand. I know Troy from Lake Haley's like, we might be getting rain, so if you want to send 1 o'clock early, and I'm like,
well, and that's kind of what we did. We were, as the carts came in, if you want to go, you can go, just because, right?
Yep.
But it all worked out. So
it did. So on to the next.
Onward.
Right? On to the next. So, all right. So let's talk a little bit more Brew Crew, shall we? A little bit more Brewers last night. Let's what's this? So we got so Mike, I think you played softball with him at Louisville.
Oh yeah.
Said first of all, Brandon, did you call last night's lineup the slow pitch corners? I thought that was pretty funny.
I did. I did.
So.
Do Gary Sanchez and Andrew Vaughn look like they could be out playing somewhere?
But with the game last night, the Brewers had 10 hits and 7 walks. Shouldn't that equal more than 5 runs? And don't some of these lineups that are put together look like the Brewers should be bunting a little bit more? Hamilton's bread and butter the early part of the year was bunt single. There is no better way to get out of a slump than to start bunting. Have a great day. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean they definitely, when you have that much traffic, you should have more than 5 runs.
Mm-hmm.
Especially earlier on in the game and that was even something kind of going back to the Padres series too. I mean, yeah, and David Hamilton. I mean, that's obviously he had one of the big hits last night in the 9th inning, but that's how he's gonna get on base. Let's be real here. He's
right.
He is the closest thing Major League Baseball has to a slap hitter.
Yeah.
For like softball.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the bunting thing. I think it just depends on who it is. Like, because part of it is you want to is getting down the bump, but it's also being able to beat it out. So like someone like William Contreras, like I'm not sure he's going to beat that out. So, but yeah, I mean that's one of the like Garrett Mitchell, who's we talked before, went from red hot in July to ice cold right now, even with the big hit last night. Like someone like that, Standa, maybe try it, wouldn't hurt my feelings at all.
Right.
But ultimately, I think it's still going to just come down to getting hits with runners in scoring position to kind of, I'm sure, kind of jostle some of these guys out of the slumber that they've been in offensively.
Right. I mean, I'm sure you've probably seen some of it too, but you got some people saying here, yep, they did peak too early. And I mean, but again, it's like, I always bring this up. What do you tell a team then?
Yeah.
Hey, slow it down and
don't be
save
good.
it.
Yeah, don't be good. Stop hitting so well. You need right. And there's not really too much you can do there. I mean, heck, even there, the joke I was just making, kind of early this week with my friends were like, oh, well, the Brewers must think it's October. The Brewers are in October mode because they're not scoring any runs.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, exactly. What do you say?
Right. I mean, exactly, and it's every team that goes through bouts like this. It just depends on when they're going to.
And and if this happened in May, which has happened in May before, I remember last year being in the Brewer game against the Twins in May, the cribbage board day, when they just got annihilated by the Twins. And it was kind of like, ooh, maybe this season, and they kind of turned around after that, but. Yeah, it's just it's a bad time for them to have a bad time. But yeah, last night's win was a great one to get, especially in the nature it happened, where for the first 8 innings, that just felt like so many Brewers games, especially Brewers-Dodgers games last year in the NLCS we saw over and over, where, they've kind of, they get an early lead, but they can't add on, and there's one big swing from the Dodgers, and then the Brewers, can't mount that, return punch, but then they did, with 3 runs. And the crazy thing is the Brewers scored 3 runs in the 9th inning last night.
Mm-hmm.
Last year in the entire NLCS, they scored 4 runs. They almost scored more runs in 1 inning last night than they did in 36 innings last year.
Really?
In the NLCS, yeah.
Wow. That's
I don't like bringing that number up because it's not a fun number.
No. Oh gosh, that's awful.
Yeah, that's sad. I'm sad now.
Thanks for ruining Friday, man.
Yeah.
Oh boy. So, all right, but game 2 tonight, we got Robert Gasser on the mound here, and I mean, I don't know what to. Is he like almost the biggest wild card from a starting pitcher standpoint that the Brewers have? Shane Drone's probably in there too.
I mean, I think of the 6 starters they're rolling out there, like if you were ranking them, he'd definitely be 6.
Yeah.
But it's but he's pitched well on the whole.
Mm-hmm.
There's been some tough ones in there, but you go back to Saturday, being able to grind through it like he did, where like as bad as it started, like it could have got a lot worse. Mm-hmm. But he kind of grinded through it. I think it was like 4 2/3. I forget exactly how many innings he pitched, but I mean that was big. And he's someone that's, and we'll talk about this more, I'm sure, once we get into September. It's kind of a unique spot because it's like he's a guy that could be a starter for this team, but I'm not sure he has a role in the playoff roster.
Yeah.
Because you only need 4 starters in the playoffs, so if someone drops off, who is that guy? Right now, is that Shane Drowen? And who's been, pretty good, like, just solid. But is he a guy that maybe you can bump to the bullpen? Because, I mean, Mizorowski, Harrison. I mean, yeah, then Henderson and Dustin May. Like, I feel like that's probably, as of right now, and again, month and a half away, a lot can change. That's probably your 4.
And Dustin May has looked sharp in these these 2 games.
He has. And, obviously we didn't get a chance to chat right after the trade deadline.
Mm-hmm.
But Dustin May was one that I was really excited for them to get just because he seems like a Brewers pitcher.
Mm-hmm.
Now
because he looks like a lumberjack, or
kind of, and just with the stuff, throwing several different fastballs, and just the guy that has kind of the high velocity, the high gas arm, the guy that it just seemed like that was a fit. Now that was kind of one where I like what they got from the Cardinals, but the return, I mean, they gave up a lot. I mean, that's but that's
the name of the game.
Yeah, that's nature of the beast.
Yep.
Like. My thought at the time too was like, you can't complain all the Brewers never do anything, and then when they do something, complain that they did something because they gave up a lot. It's like,
right.
Well, what do you want?
Exactly. Yeah.
So, but Dustin May, yeah, he's come out sharp, and 6 innings, 2 runs first time out, 7 innings in the second one. He definitely deserved to win that game.
Yeah,
Just didn't get it, but no, it's only been 2 starts, but he's done a good job of really kind of helping to just provide another stabilizer in that rotation. And that's a guy that, he's a vet. We talked about kind of, okay, well, do they get a veteran? That's a guy that's been around. That's a guy that's been through some stuff with, some injuries and stuff. So that's just a good guy to add. Mm-hmm. And he's been as good as advertised so far. And Jojo Romero, we'll see. I mean, sounds like that's coming up, sooner than later.
And that's not really a game injury. He had an appendectomy.
So that's weird. So it's like, it's not like, well, is his velocity? I mean, how will it be affected? It's like, well, in theory, it probably shouldn't be because it wasn't like an arm or an elbow or a
shoulder or something.
Yeah, it was an appendectopmy. Like,
right.
So,
and too, and I know this, it was a few years ago, but like even Dustin May, Dodgers viewed him as like untouchable, is what I was reading.
Right.
Too,
he was at one time. He was a very highly prized prospect where he had some injuries and kind of fell through the cracks a little bit. I mean, the Cardinals signed him in the offseason, and it was for them, it was exactly, I'm sure, what they were looking for. You got some good production out of him, and then you were able to flip him because you weren't, you were just falling out of contention. But
right.
Yeah, I mean, he's been great. Logan Henderson going back to that start Monday. I mean, pitching into the 7th. I forget if it was 6th or 7th. Either way, he went. I thought it was the 7th because I think he went pretty deep into the game at a time when they needed him to.
Yep.
And really, kind of the low. Going back to last night's game, I think the low key MVP was Dale Hall.
Yeah.
2 scoreless innings, looked really good. I mean, that is by far the best he's looked since he's come back.
3 Ks, no walks.
Sharp.
Yeah.
And to be able to do that, really, kept them within punching distance until they were able to get some runs. So,
Yep.
and at this point, what more can you say about Trevor McGill? After that slow start, like he has looked as good as he has at any time when he's been in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
The classic reliever repertoire of the big fastball and the curveball. I mean, we've seen Brewers over the years utilize that. I mean, that was Corey Knebel's bread and butter. You go back a little further, that was Derek Turnbow's bread and butter. Like, but there's a reason it works.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, well, there's a reason why if you're a pitcher and you have a good changeup, like a good changeup worked in 1970 and it works in 2026.
Good way to put that.
So, it's interesting how things develop over the year, and things that look like they're an issue at one point aren't.
Yeah.
And Trevor McGill, I mean, you go back to the end of April and people are like, oh, and I was among them. I mean,
right.
The velocity was down a little bit, but his velocity tends to just be down a little bit at the beginning of the year anyway. And he wasn't throwing it by people, and now he's getting a lot of swing and miss. So
he looks like kind of the all-star from last year.
He
little bit.
He does.
We got Mizorowski tomorrow. I'm excited for Sundays because it's the storyline of Henderson and Skubal.
And just this series in general, I appreciate Kurt Hoke from the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel called it the Narrative World Series.
I didn't see that. That's awesome.
So, I mean, whatever happens, the Narrative World Series is out there between the Brewers and the Dodgers. So,
because it feels like it's all season long, even trade deadline, players have been asked about it. Murphy's been asked about it. It's not the Cubs. It's not the Braves. It's Dodgers. You almost feel like they're in a division. I get it. I understand it. But it's like that's been the talk. And I think that's probably the same for a lot of people, probably. But we just hear it more because of the Brewers.
Right.
But it's been, are you better than the Dodgers? Have you done as much? Can you beat the Dodgers?
Right.
So, and whatever happens this series, as we saw last year, it don't really mean anything.
Exactly. Now, it would be nice to win just because you want to win and because the Cubs have, cut some of that wiggle room down. But, like, we know that by the time you get to the postseason, the Dodgers are going to be a little healthier than they are now.
Yeah.
Ideally, hopefully, the Brewers are too.
Right.
But, I think last year we saw that, hey, you can beat up somebody in the regular season as much as you want, but it's always a different beast once you get to the playoffs.
Yep. All right, we got to take our final break, and we'll be back to wrap up the second hour and then get into halftime. Busy 8 o'clock hour. We'll do some cream of the crop, local sports roundup, brought to you by Carpet City Flooring Center, and some AGM Automotive pump and brakes full throttle. We'll be right back after these quick words. All right, just a few minutes left to the top of the hour. So if you want to give us your cream of the crops, now is the time. You can hit us up on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line or hang out in the Section 105 chats. We've got a lot of people in there. Looks like going back and forth. So continue that talk. We'll talk amongst your peeps and your friends, and I'll try to go through some of the messages there. But we've been talking plenty of baseball here this morning with the Brewers and the Dodger series. We had the Packers' first preseason game yesterday. We hit that up. We're still looking for, if you want to participate, who are the players that stood out to you? Trace Mack obviously has been the big one. So if you could think of any other ones that you would throw into consideration or nomination, whatever you want to call it, for who really stood out to you, or if you kind of want to say maybe from a negative side didn't really play that well last night, you can toss that one out there too. But your Vikings play tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow at noon.
Tomorrow at noon.
They got the Giants of New York.
Are we going to see Jack Strand too coming up here for Atlanta?
Sounds like it. Yeah, that's tonight. It sounds like. I mean, I believe, if I remember from what I'd seen from reports from Kevin Stefanski, I believe it was Tua, I think Cooper Rush, and I think Jack Strand. Will be the third quarterback playing. I don't know how much, but I'm sure he will be.
Yeah.
And let's be real. I mean, Tua's probably not going to play that much. Cooper Rush may not need to play that much. So honestly, I mean, this could be a time where he gets a good amount of run here in the preseason. So.
And it'd be interesting to watch too, because if he does ball out, I know Green Bay has done this historically, but if he does ball out, I wouldn't be surprised if Atlanta then doesn't play him much and tries to stash him on the we don't want to showcase this, and then you could do the practice squad.
And the tough thing with that always too is someone has to do it, and
right.
So many teams have gotten away, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing, from playing starters a lot in the preseason just because the risk of the injury isn't worth it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and when you have two quarterbacks who are very injury prone, and Tua and Michael Penix, it's like, okay, well, those guys aren't going to play much. It's like, well, they've got Cooper Rush, who's a veteran. It's like, well, how much are you going to play him?
Right.
My thought was if they keep three quarterbacks and Jack Strand's your number three, then he's probably playing a ton.
Yeah.
Because there's no reason not to.
Right.
Especially with those two quarterbacks in front of him, there's a non-zero chance he could play this year just because the two guys in front of him struggle to stay healthy.
Right. I think teams get too cute in that essence of trying to hide players.
And especially with the way things have changed a little bit with the rules for the bigger practice squads and stuff like that.
And who you can have on a practice squad with service time.
It's not as prevalent as it used to, where people would plug people off of other teams.
Yeah.
Generally, if you want somebody to get, when it's cut down day, if you want somebody to get through to your practice squad, generally they do. And remember, at that point, if someone wanted to grab Jack Strand, they'd have to grab him for his 53-man roster. They couldn't take him, if let's just say they released him out of camp with the intention of adding him to the practice squad, which I fully believe would probably be their plan if they went that route.
Mm-hmm.
Another team can't grab him and say, well, we're going to put him on our practice squad. No, you have to elevate them to be on the 53-man roster.
Yep.
So, but no, it's exciting. I mean, that's something I'm kind of excited to see. I mean, obviously it's a big deal.
Right.
So, and kind of been really cool in camp, seeing some of the different outlets, writing about Jack and kind of his journey and stuff like that. And from reports, it sounds like he's impressed.
Yeah, yeah. I know early on he had those opportunities too with the ones.
With the ones, and so it's going to be really cool to just see how he looks.
Yeah, and this is what preseason's all about too. Watching some of these opportunities and kind of getting to know some guys that may be called upon early or later on in the season due to injuries and stuff. So, but all right. So we only got a couple minutes left to the top. Oh, Fish Fry Friday. Yeah, a random comment, but Fish Fry does actually sound good right now. Which, by the way, all right, I still want to do something like a Fish Fry Friday tour around the valley. It costs me a lot of money to go buy fish fries every Friday, but gosh, I love a good fish fry. I'm on the hunt for the best fish fry.
One, though.
Yeah, I'm on the hunt to find the best fish fry. I will say this: I miss it. Gilman, it was a family-related, but Marie had the restaurant in Gilman. That was the best fish fry ever.
Is that the one right by the train tracks?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Missed that one. I missed that. Was my favorite go-to.
As I've gotten older too, like I've grown to appreciate like if you have like a good like boiled one or a grilled one. Like I mean, I don't get me wrong, I love the bread, like the breaded one stuff, but like it doesn't have to be.
No.
Like, yeah, you want to go a slightly healthier option.
When
so
I
good.
was a kid growing up in Medford Cafe, okay, it didn't matter the day of the week. My go-to meal was their pan-baked fish because it was awesome. Pan-baked fish, fries, and a chocolate milk or
Easy.
malt.
I was gonna say easy for you to say.
That was my go-to. So, but good memories.
You were eating like an elderly person.
I was actually. It could have been a Tuesday or Sunday. I was like, nope. It got to a point where certain waitresses there knew what I was.
Did you finish it off with a nice scoop of like maple nut ice cream?
Coconut cream pie, because they had the pie display.
Oh, I remember the pie display.
Yep. You don't see people to restaurants do that anymore. I was thinking about that.
The pie display?
Or like even KFC in Medford when I was a kid, going in there and you could see the desserts. Like, remember that too? Like, the good old days, man. I miss those.
You just want to go jump in a Hardee's ball pit, don't you?
Yes, that too. All right, shot clock's gonna cut us off. We'll regroup here and kick it off with some cream of the crop after these news updates. All right, the third hour kicking off right now on this TGIF, this Fish Fry Friday, this open house party Friday. We got Berg sitting across the way here. Coming up in just a couple minutes here, we'll do some local sports roundup brought to you by Carpet City Flooring Center. Also, we'll play a little AJM Automotive, Pump the Brakes, Full Throttle. But we're going to kick off this hour with a little cream of the crop. Brandon, cream of the crop. Who are you going to roll with for your cream of the crop?
I hope I'm not infringing on what you might say.
Okay.
I'm just going to go back to the classic last week.
Oh,
Everybody involved. I mean, everything went off really well. Like, that's why you do it. I think I feel comfortable kind of speaking on your behalf for that reason. Like, that's why you do it. You know, we've got a good group of people, and it's growing, that get together and we raise money for a great cause. And we have fun doing it.
Yeah. No, that's well said, and I appreciate you picking that one. So, no, big thanks to everybody. No, it's kind of our first. Yeah, I mean, it was hard to believe it's been a week now since that.
Right.
It's So, dunna. Heard that.
You better mute Unsolved Mysteries, or else I'm gonna be distracted.
My cream of the crop. I know we had a lot going on yesterday with Brewers, Dodgers, and you had the Packers preseason game, but it was the Field of Dreams game. Twins fans probably were watching it with the Phillies. And my cream of the crop is actually, first of all, they do it. I hope this is something that continues, that they do this. But seeing some of the older players coming out on the field, Paul Molitor came out wearing the Brewers uniform out of the cornfield. And then seeing, like, he was playing catch with his son on the field. I know Griffey's were doing it. And then Clemens with his kid who's playing for the Twins had a catch on the field. So I think that stuff's cool.
Right.
I'm glad Major League Baseball does stuff like that. So cream of the crop, Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
I'll give that to them. So, all right, let's do some local sports roundup brought to you by Carpet City Flooring Center. First off, I know it was a few days ago, but let's give a shout out to the Eau Claire Express. Just a fantastic season. I know they came a game short of going to the Northwoods League Championship game. I'm sure, maybe some disappointment, some heartache in that. But overall, you look at this season, first half being in contention for a first half championship, winning the second half championship. It was just a fun team. I know you did some stories on it because of some local players on there. Just an overall fantastic job and a great season by the Express.
Yeah. I mean, when you look, that team was as hot as anybody for a lot of the year. Mm-hmm. Especially once you get into the second half and what they were able to do, and then getting the series win over the Loggers, which obviously that's always a rivalry. So no, a great season for Coach Varsho and that entire group. I mean, that's what you look for, and that's like to get Carson Park hopping like that. I mean, that's special.
Yep. No, I agree. So, we got scrimmage day for high school football today. So, Brandon, you're going to the one up in Chippewa, which is Chippewa Falls
Northwestern,
and
Sparta, I believe.
Okay, and I know Carson Park is Regis, Medford, Edgar, St. Croix Falls. So, and I'm sure there's other scrimmages going around.
Oh yeah, pretty much everyone. I know there was one yesterday, but like pretty much everybody is today, and then. After that, next week is the first game week. Mm-hmm. A good chunk of games on that next Thursday, but also some on Friday as well. So, yeah, and then we're off and going.
So, yeah, the season kicks off next week, and we'll be able to next week kind of dive into some of the games.
Exactly, a little bit more, once we've got that kind of right there directly in front of us. But yeah.
I know you've been doing some, I'll call it the Berg training camp tour.
I did. I found a way I saw everybody within a week.
Yeah, I don't know how you did that, but you can check out those at chippewa.com. Just kind of generally, was one thing or maybe a couple things that kind of stood out to you in particular? I know you have some really good storylines for a lot of different teams.
I think that there's a lot of teams this year, I mean, at least from the areas I cover, where, it's almost like it's one way or the other, where teams are very experienced coming back, or there's just a lot of new faces. Like, there's no real middle ground, which is interesting to me. And, it's interesting because when it comes to, like, experience, especially in football, it makes such a difference. And, coming up on Monday, I'll have my Chippewa Falls football preview, and talking with Coach Reykjavik last night, he mentioned, he's like, well, we were talking about the experience because this is the year where they have more experience coming back than maybe they did last year or the last couple of years. And he mentioned, he goes, well, it's kind of like around a business where generally if you're working with people that are more experienced in what you do, you have a better chance of success. And it's like because you're not having to kind of get people up to speed. Like if you had a couple of people that you were trying to figure out, okay, how do we get these people going with this? It might take you a little bit longer to do what you want to do. So, but I think I'm just excited to see it get going.
Yeah.
It always jumps up, and football is always kind of the first thing that obviously takes the spotlight. But we've got girls golf is underway, and girls tennis is underway. And the next week, pretty much the cross country and volleyball and boys soccer, like those all get underway as well. So we get, by next week, everything is off and running. And the fall is, every season is always decidedly different. Golf is always fun, I think, because you don't necessarily see the weather change that much. State is early October, so by the time you get there, it's cooler. But whereas football, obviously, by the time we teams are down at Camp Randall, it's it's a little different than it is right now. So
yeah, I mean it's like opening rifle weekend when they're
it's right before it. So
we had a quick question with football. John was just wondering, is there one team to watch that you think could make it a state run?
Well, if you start in the Clover Belt, I know that Eau Claire, Regis, and Mondovi were ranked first and second in the Bound Wisconsin preseason polls. And that's not a big surprise. Those were two teams that were great last year. Those are two teams that, traded victories over each other last year. I believe Regis won the regular season. Mondovi won in the third round of the playoffs in the postseason. Those are two teams I think you got to keep a pretty close eye on. I believe they're Division II. It's a little far away, but it's connected to a conference. I would say New Richmond is a team that in the Big Rivers brings back a fair amount. And in the Big Rivers, generally, it is a conference of turnover, where you have a lot of seniors, and there's just you don't have a lot of teams in the Big Rivers that are the same for 2 or 3 years. And you might get that sometimes other places. So that would be New Richmond, I think, would be one to keep an eye on.
Is Rice Lake kind of the typical where they play the tougher schedule?
Kind of. And I think they're still D2 if I remember correctly. I don't have the pairings in front or the breakdown in front of me, but the Big Rivers is always such an interesting conference because you have the established Division I teams, Hudson, Chippewa.
Yep.
But you also have a lot of really good D2 schools. And I don't think it's a coincidence that the last few years you've seen New Richmond, you've seen obviously Rice Lake, you've seen River Falls. I think Menominee is Division II again. They got a new coach with Mitch Olson, Chippewa Falls native, so that's going to be interesting coming up here in a few weeks. We'll have Chippewa Falls and Menominee at DeRay Field to open the Big River season for Chippewa's Veterans Appreciation Night, and there's that's going to be a really cool thing to see. Mitch Olson, who played for Chuck Rakovich, not that long ago now, kind of matching up in one of the longest running rivalries in the state. Yeah. So that'll be a lot of fun. I know that's something I think. That's going to be really cool to see. So,
and of course, Sins with North now too.
Right? So, some sort of there. Obviously, you've got. I think both those Eau Claire schools, you've got coaches that are kind of building, and obviously, Sins has been around where he knows coaching in Eau Claire.
Right.
He just knows his area, and Coach Westcott at Eau Claire Memorial as well, where they're looking to kind of they were able to do some things last year, but moving up the ladder in the Wisconsin Valley is not easy, but I think it's doable.
It's still weird to say they're Wisconsin Valley.
It is. It's unfortunate, but it's just kind of one of those unfortunate side effects of while I do think there is good things with conference realignment, that's kind of unfortunately one of the examples of things that falls aside. But I will give you a team that I think could be poised for a really good year that maybe is that might be off the radar for some, and that's Cadott. That's a team that had a winning record last year, 5-4, missed the playoffs, brings back a lot, and that's a team with high expectations. And they are starting right off the bat next Friday night with a doozy of a game. They host Edgar.
Ooh, okay.
So, in talking with Coach Rickel, when I visited them earlier here in the lead up, he had mentioned that that's just a tremendous kind of chance to see where they measure up. Because we know Edgar is football royalty in this state. They are one of they're in Coach Sins there is one of the most accomplished programs of any size in Wisconsin history. So that's a very good measuring stick for the Hornets to see where, if they go out there and they're competitive, and even if you lose, but you're competitive, I'm sure they'll walk out of week one saying, okay, we can contend. Because remember, they got Grantsburg in the Lakeland Conference. That's a good team. They've got some other good teams, but this is a Cadott team that is getting to the point now where they've got a bunch of kids that have been playing for 2 or 3 years at varsity. They're experienced, and I think that's a team that, as always, the with any of these teams, it's always, can you stay healthy? That's injuries have short circuited many great years over the years, but like if you can stay healthy and keep your kids on the field, like that's a team that I think could be maybe one that teams or people didn't see coming that has a really strong fall.
Really quick, I might be off on this. Is this the year that McDonald goes back to 11?
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. They're back to 11 player this year. New coach Luke Oliver. Talk with them. They're around 30 kids for that program. There's some excitement there. It's definitely it's going to be definitely a different look than maybe what we saw the last couple years when they ultimately obviously won the 8-player state championship last year. But they jump into the Dun St. Croix, so they're in there with they've got some really good Division 7 teams. They're in there with Boyceville, Glenwood City. They're just Spring Valley, teams that are just always at the, are contenders. And to kind of connect it, their opening game next Friday, they play Regis. That's the first time, and they'll be down at Carson Park. That's the first time those teams have played on the football field since 2010. And that's a game I remember pretty well because it was my first year here, and it was one of the more memorable games I've ever covered, where it was a game that was 42-7 Regis at halftime, and Regis won 49-42. It was just a wild, wild game. And that, so that's a big test early on for McDonald to kind of, again, we talked about kind of Cadott and Edgar for kind of the litmus test to see where you are. Like, this is a little, a McDonald team with a lot of turnover from last year. So it's a little bit of a different situation, but that's kind of jumping right in with both feet. I mean, Regis, always good. I mean, that's Coach Brenner runs a great program there. They're in contention every year. So, that's kind of fun that's a rivalry that we're going to get to see again.
Right.
And that's fun.
Now, is this also the first year too where 8-man football starts the same time as 11-man?
That last year was.
Was that last year?
Yeah, last year was.
Okay.
So everyone gets started on the same day of practice, and the 8-player postseason starts a week earlier because they only have an 8-team, or they only have an 8-game regular season. So last year, the really cool thing they did is actually they started the postseason, but they started on Saturday. Which was really fun because it kind of gave them their own separate day, as opposed to Friday night maybe. And I'm sure part of it too might have been just officiating, just making sure you got enough officials. I mean, that's something we've seen with a lot of, especially 8-player games in the northern part, northern half of the state, is a lot of games on Thursday just to make sure that they're, they have enough officials. But yeah, that's something they did where that first playoff game was on Saturday, which I thought was a really good idea. Yeah. And that's going to be the case. I believe, as far as I know, that's going to be the case again. But yeah, everyone gets going. There's some interesting 8-player games to start next week. I know, like New Auburn and Thorpe, I think, is an interesting one there. And there's just a lot of them that are going to, really kick off. And, this part of the state has had some really good success with 8-player football, especially in recent years. And I think that's going to continue. Gilman brings back a lot from that team that made the state championship game last year. Owen Withy played a lot of underclassmen last year that are, a year older, a year stronger. I think Thorpe's going to be an improved team I mentioned. New Auburn, I wrote about them. That story is literally up on Chippewa.com this morning, but they've got an experienced senior class that's played a lot of football. They're in a tough conference with some of the changes that there's been in the North Central West Conference, but it's exciting, and I'm excited to see 8-player football continue to grow, because there was a point where when it first came back, I think 2012 was the first year it was officially like teams were full time, and there was 12, 14, I forget how many teams did. New Auburn was among them. So, I mean, I've been kind of entrenched with 8-player football since it came back.
Yeah.
And there was such a stigma about it. And that's kind of gone by the wayside. It's not real football, yada, yada. It's like, no, it is. And, it allows a lot of these smaller schools, if they're able to keep their individual identities, because, they don't necessarily have to co-op. Some do, but you don't have to, because you need fewer players. Going to some of the teams I've seen, Cornell and Lake Holcomb, they're around 16 kids-ish. You can do that. New Auburn had a few more. You can do that. And to see it grow the way it has, I don't know how it would happen. My pie in the sky dream I would still love to see is I would still love to find a way to get it to get the state championship game on a bigger stage. Like Wisconsin Rapid High School and stuff is great. Like it works really well. It's just, but it's still something that I don't. It's not something the entire state is necessarily aware of in front of them. Like there's 8-player football is kind of played in pockets around the state. It's around here. It's also kind of sort of in like the Northeast. Like there's stretches also like in the Southeast a little bit too. So like it's not pretty evenly spread out. And I think it's one of those things that as more people see it and as more people have saw it, they can kind of see it's an option for them.
Really, because we got WBA states
we
baseball
do, yeah.
too.
Yep, that's coming up this weekend. We got the finals or the second weekend of the tournament for Division A and Division B. Good amount of CRBL teams coming up, and honestly, another thing it's been a few weeks, but because we haven't talked in a few weeks.
Yeah.
Kind of a secondary cream of the crop, I think I would throw would be for the Jim Falls Sturgeons. Winning the CRBL championship, that's going back a few weeks, but the first championship in team history, and that's one of the longest running franchises. Like to be able to see that, I think that kind of just spoke perfectly to the depth and the parity of the league, where you have a team that's never won it before that won it. And now you look at the WBAs this weekend, and you've got, I think it's Osseo, Tilden, Cadott in the Division A. I think Whitehall in Division B. Whitehall won Division B last year. So, those, the in Division A, the go-to team to beat is always River Falls. The Fighting Fish are always good, but you've got, the CRBL still got a good contingent of teams there that are gonna that have a shot.
Yeah.
And they've had success over the years. A few years ago, Tilden won. We're not that far removed from the Cavs winning one. So, Osseo, I think, has done it before here within the last decade. So it's a fun time of year. And it's, for those guys, I mean, this is kind of when they've been building towards. It's always kind of a dual approach with, people in the CRBL because, like, you want to win the league championship, but then you always kind of have that eye on also the WBA.
Right. Well, all right, that's your local sports roundup brought to you by Carpet City Flooring Center. Let's take a quick break, and then we'll play a little AJM Automotive, Pump the Brakes, Full Throttle, coming up after these quick words. All right, Brandon, are you ready to play a little Pump the Brakes, Full Throttle?
Yes.
Yes. First of all, I am looking for. So I shout out Cream of the Crop Honorable was Brandon's mom and Rocky because they got the dice box. They got the dice box. Can you hear it? As you mentioned, there's 6 die in there.
I just wanted to give an extra one, which
You
I
never know.
appreciate.
Yeah, you always want.
I mean,
an
you
extra on
can,
hand.
I guess.
But you and I have talked about this before. We got to come up with a segment that involves dice box, maybe for the podcast.
Yeah.
And what is that? What is that segment? So if anybody's got a great idea, it's got to be a great idea
Not just a good one.
or a good one. That's the bottom. That's the bare minimum. It's got to be good. Looking for great. What can we do with a dice box to make it a podcast segment that's easy and not complicating? That's the other part too.
Yeah.
It's tough. And yeah, we could do 5 die or do 6 or whatever. So nothing lower than 5. It's got to be.
No.
It can't be lower than that. So, all right. If you have any good ideas, let me know. Hit me up. So, but yeah, it's an honorable cream of the crop too. It's actually, if anybody, I will say I saw a bunch of people on Facebook selling them today during the game.
Yeah,
they
no,
were posting
yeah.
them. So it's like,
I mean, that's to be expected.
yeah, but it's nice quality too. It's hard. Yeah, nice. Bruce, you were saying, what are they going to do next year? Because last year was cribbage board. This year was this. What's the Wisconsin theme for next year?
What's the thing? Yeah,
I am a little surprised that they haven't done like a euchre game.
Like euchre, yeah.
Like euchre.
Yeah. Maybe that's it.
Maybe it is. I don't know. But all right, let's do some AJM Automotive Pump the Brakes Full Throttle here. Pump the Brakes Full Throttle. The Brewers should call up Andrew Fisher.
I'm actually going to pump the brakes on it.
Yeah.
ZAA right now, you mentioned numbers recently have not been great. I'm fine if they don't. I was more on the Luke Adams train if they were looking for a third base, but it's one of those things where it's like, it's kind of one in, one out. Like, obviously there's a lot of people that want to see Jory Ortiz play every day, but he was playing every day. He's gonna probably play at second base or at third base.
Yep.
The weirdness of the splits between second or short and third, but like, I don't like the idea of bringing up a guy from AA to the majors.
Yeah,
like I think that's a bit of a jump.
Mm-hmm. I would agree.
Yeah,
I'm going to pump the brakes on that as well. I get it. You want some more power. You want some more, and I totally get it. But I don't think we can overlook the fact of that jump. And I know people are going to say, well, Jackson Cheerio.
Yeah, but that's the exception.
Yeah. Pump the brakes, full throttle. Speaking of one, Jackson Cheerio or Jack. Pump the brakes, full throttle. He is having a very underrated, quiet, from a national sense, season. When you really look at his, he's.
No, his numbers have been good. I guess from a national perspective, yeah, I'd go ahead on that. He's someone that I think it's interesting trying to figure out the what's the level for him,
right?
Because early on, coming up and like he did, and the struggles right away, but really after that first set of struggles, he's been pretty good. I think the thing I like this year about him is he's taking more of his walks.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you look at his numbers right now, 274. I mean, it's kind of crazy how consistent he's been in that way, where rookie year he has 275, last year he has 270, this year he has 274. He's got the best OPS of his career right now, in part because I think the on-base percentage is a little bit higher. He's taking more walks. I think that's just maybe the natural growth of a hitter. We said the power's there. 17 home runs. I mean, barring something unforeseen, he should surpass that. His 21 home runs each of the first few years. But I think in some ways maybe he's overlooked because initially, like, people had the ceiling on him as like, well, he could be an MVP, which he could, but like, he's not necessarily going to get that right away. Like, you don't hit your peak right away, and he's still at 22.
Yeah,
like he's a very productive. He's an all-star caliber guy right now. I mean, if he went to miss the first month of the year, maybe he would have been. Who knows? Mm-hmm. But like, to me, I've appreciated the fact that like, he's been pretty consistent, I would say, overall for a guy that is that young. You don't see that a lot.
Mm-hmm. pump the brakes, full throttle. Bear with me on this one. Pump the brakes, full throttle, because people have called for it. Should they bench Christian Yelich?
I would say right now I'm going to pump the brakes, but again, here's kind of my hear me out here with this is, I mean, I'm not sure what the option is. Like, I mean, at this point, he only plays against right-handed batting or right-handed pitching, excuse me, which he should. But I mean, maybe you give a little more time to Gary Sanchez there, but like his numbers are generally a lot better against lefties than righties. Like, I think moving him down in the lineup was the good first step. You just let him play a little, in a spot that's maybe a little lower pressure and just see how that goes. But I also think that it's one of those things where, because of, I mean, this is something we're going to have to consider. Because of how much money Christian Yelich makes, he's going to get extra opportunities to figure it out. This is a team that, is going to, exhaust every option they can with trying to, have him help them as a productive player. So I think moving him down the lineup was a good first step. I don't think we're at that point where he's just benched. But I think right now his role is as a guy that plays against right-handed pitching. And that's probably pretty much it until he proves that, he's productive enough to have more than that. So, yeah, and then once you're with the against lefties, it seems like they've been kind of splitting that up between, either Contreras or Sanchez. I would actually kind of like to maybe see them give Contreras at some point here, like almost like a couple days off, just kind of like a mental reset.
Right.
Maybe he doesn't play Sunday. They have the off day Monday, and then he doesn't play Tuesday. Just give him a few days to kind of clear his head. I know he probably doesn't want it because, as we know, he wants to play every day.
Right.
And you can appreciate that mentality, but at some point, you just gotta, you got to try something a little bit different with him because it's been tough to watch for a while. And I do think it's something that's maybe kind of bleeding into, the struggles of the plate maybe are kind of bleeding into the rest of his game.
Right. All right. We're going to take a quick break. I know we're having some technical difficulties here, so we're going to try to figure this out here. We'll be right back after these quick words. Test 1, 2. Test 1, 2. Test 1, 2. All right. Hopefully, we've got the technology sort of figured out now. Appreciate you all bearing with us as we try to figure this out.
Going. You're jumping right in there.
Streaming's a little behind. I'm trying to monitor and do this all solo. So
what you're saying is I should stop talking.
no, I want you to talk so I can hear. So yeah, I think we're good now. So stop yelling at me now. I'm only one man. I'm only one man, people. Stop yelling. So trying to figure this out. But I think we got it now. I think we got it, hopefully. All right, let's pick up where we left off. A little AGM Automotive, Pump the Brakes, Full Throttle to continue here this morning. So Pump the Brakes, Full Throttle, Brandon. Let's go. Let's stay with the Brewers theme here, baseball theme here, as we are approaching the final quarter of the regular season. The biggest concern for the Brewers to finish off this final quarter of the regular season, to stay in first place, whether that's first place in the National League or first place in their division, is going to be the lack of home runs.
I'll say Full Throttle because I think that's still connected to offense. And my concern with the Brewers down the stretch into the postseason, every postseason, is going to be the offense until they give me a reason to have it not be. And yeah, I don't think you necessarily, I mean, you don't have to be the league leader in home runs, but I think you got to hit a little more than you do.
Yeah.
I mean, you just see the quick strike element of it. You know, instead of having to stack together 3 singles, it's a swing. And at this point, that's just going to come from that's going to come with William Contreras figuring it out. That's going to come for Christian Yelich, being able to kind of get back to speed. That's ultimately, if this team is going to reach its potential offensively, that's what it's going to take.
Right.
Is those underachieving players that we know have a lot more in them than they've been able to show recently, kind of getting back to kind of finding their level.
Right. To me, the offense for the Brewers, I was looking at these numbers the other day. They're like top 5, top 10 in so many categories: on base, doubles, triples, hits, runs, run differential, etc. But it all comes back to the home run, where they're dead last. I mean, is it as simple as if they would hit more home runs, they can win this whole shebang thing? I mean, is it as simple as that?
I think they have a shot. I mean, the more things you do well, the tougher it is to beat you. So,
right.
That's. Yeah, I mean, it'd be nice. I mean, look, at this point, even if they go on some sort of home run binge, they're probably going to move up the rankings in that too much. So, but I think you'd like to see it, if nothing else, just to feel better about yourself going into the postseason.
Pump the brakes, full throttle. Do you think they'll hit the 100 win mark as we get closer to that final quarter of the regular season? They're sitting at 74 wins.
I'm still going to pump the brakes just because you need so many things to go right to do that. And they do have a challenging schedule here to close out the season. You still got another 7 games with the Cubs, obviously 3 more with the Dodgers, another series with the Braves yet. I think they'll get close. Because 97 is what they got had last year?
97 last year, yep.
I would say something around there.
75 wins, by the way, I think.
So
they need 25 more.
Exactly. So that's a little too rich for my blood, but I still think they're going to be in good shape.
So basic math tells me they've got 40 more games to go.
So can they go 25-15?
Can they go 25-15?
They can,
games?
but I don't think they will.
They?
I don't think they will.
You know what? I'm going to say full throttle because I think they're going to have to. They're going to be forced to because they're going to be pushed by the Cubs if they continue to play this well. They're going to be, if they want that 1 seed. They're going to be. It is a challenging schedule, but I'm going to say full throttle because they're going to have to be pushed a little bit. They can't keep their foot off the pedal.
Right. They can't. They're not going to go to the last week of the regular season and be able to kind of throttle it down like we've seen in the past.
As much as they maybe want to when it comes to their pitching, to rest it.
Right.
Pump the brakes, full throttle. Is it going to be this? Because this is going to be a topic when we get to it, probably a little bit closer. But it's going to be the whole: do you want that time off, or do you want to keep the momentum?
Rest versus rust.
Yeah. Which pump the brakes, full throttle? The rest is going to be more important for the Brewers.
Yeah, I'm still going to want that bye just because
I think it's for pitching purposes. Mostly,
I think it's for pitching purposes, but also just to what I would say, just to kind of avoid the landmine. Every year, it seems like there is that one team that gets tripped up, and there's a few years where it was the Brewers in the wild card round. So I would. That's a bridge I would much rather cross when we get there. I mean, you can look at even last year, the Brewers were off for nearly a week, and what they do in their first couple games against the Cubs of that, division round series. The offense came out smoking.
Yeah.
So I would rather, I understand it, but I would rather get that bye to the second round versus keep playing when, you've been really grinding down the stretch. And again, if we think it's going to be that way where, they're going to have to play into that final series of the regular season to try to, hopefully on their case, clinch the division, you're just going to want that downtime.
I would agree, and I mean just to avoid, because all chances are you're going to be going up against a pretty tough team in the wild card round too.
Yeah,
so I mean,
if
you
can
avoid it a little bit,
might be the Cubs.
It very well could be the Cubs. So yeah,
unrelated, and this wouldn't matter for that, but something that it kind of irritates me about the baseball playoffs is they don't reseed. Or they don't, like the NFL does. Where let's say the Brewers are the 1 seed, and let's say, basically, they would not face the lowest remaining seed.
Right.
I don't
Whereas,
like that.
the NFL does.
Yeah.
That makes sense to do that. I don't know if it's just they don't want to it's straight up bracket play.
Yeah, and that I guess, but I don't know. That just
I do like the reseeding because I think if you're the 1 seed, you should get the.
You've earned the right to face. Yeah, you've earned whoever the lowest seed is or lower seed.
Remember a couple years ago that talk about where the playoff team could choose who they wanted to play? Remember that?
I have a fantasy league that does that, and that's fun.
Yeah.
Because if you choose somebody and then they beat you.
Yep.
That's. I would like to see the first major sports league that would have the guts to do that. Because, man, you are opening up some real banter there.
Yeah, you are. So, no, I just remember that that didn't last that long, but that was that report or rumor, whatever the heck you want to call it, out there. So, pump the brakes, full throttle. You have more confidence that Contreras is going to get out of this slump than Yelich.
I'm going to say full throttle just because I'm just going to say physically. Just because I have more confidence that Contreras physically is going to be able to kind of hold up and figure it out. Yelich, obviously we know he's getting up there in years, and we haven't really heard a lot, but I kind of wonder if there is something, I think anyone that's ever had any back things knows it doesn't ever really go away.
Yeah.
You just deal with it. And there's times where it definitely looks like he runs like a guy that's got some
A little tight.
some back bothers. But yeah, the Contreras thing, it's just weird because I think I mentioned this earlier because, there for a few years the talk was always the thumb. Because he had the thumb injury, didn't get the surgery, and then he did get the surgery, and then now we haven't heard anything beyond, again, probably just wear and tear from being a catcher that plays a lot, and it's just been such a struggle. And he's someone that is so dynamic. When you're someone like him that can bring that kind of offense when he's cooking right to the catcher position, let's put it this way: the Brewers will not achieve success in the playoffs if William Contreras is not figured out.
Right.
He's that important.
I would agree with that. 100%. I would agree with that. I do feel more confident too that I would agree with you that if I had to pick between the two, I'd trust Contreras a little bit more.
And here's the thing too. They need him more. They need, it's kind of weird to say because obviously Christian Yelich has been such an important part of this team for so long. The Brewers need William Contreras to be successful. That's more important to them being successful as a team than Christian Yelich at this stage of the game.
Pump the brakes, full throttle. You would bring Sal Frelick back up even if he's not ready to play the outfield and he'd just be in a DH role.
I pump the brakes on that.
How dare you, sir?
Because Yelich is right now.
Apologize to the 3 Frelick cards I have on display.
No, because because then I don't think that you're not fully utilizing Sal. You need Sal in the outfield. You need Sal running around.
You need me on that wall.
You need him like that. But yeah, because Yelich is looking to DH against righties. I just don't know if there's necessarily in that scenario. I don't think there's a spot for him. I would wait until he's feeling good defensively, and then. That's just another option you can utilize.
Would you put him at third? Who would you rather have at third, him or Vaughn?
I think Vaughn.
Yeah. You mean Rick Vaughn?
Give me Vaughn. I don't think so. It is tough though because at this point there's a lot of, and I say this positively, redundancies with the Brewers when they're at full strength. Where hey, Sal Frelick is a Gold Glove outfielder, but it's but you've also got Luis Lara, who has definitely shown why he's gotten the praise he has offensively.
I feel better with the way, and this sounds bad because I just want the team to win, but I feel better about Frelick's future with the way Mitchell has been playing out as of late.
Well, and that's the thing too. Is by the time Frelick gets back, if Mitchell's struggles continue, you could see a path where Frelick could earn some playing time coming back. Maybe it was the shoulder that was kind of had him a little out of sync offensively.
Yeah.
Mitchell, he for a while when he was hot, he earned the time. He was getting at bats against lefties and stuff like that. But that's just the ebbs and the flows of the season. Especially when you're someone that didn't necessarily have the staying power of years and years of production.
Right.
I understand. You're not just gonna flat out bench Contreras. He's never gonna play again. You have to. He has to work through it.
Yeah.
But can you give him a few days to where maybe it's a bit of a mental reset? But Frelick, by the time he gets back, and I assume the move would just be to send Brandon Lockridge down.
Yeah.
I understand that, you like him against lefties sometimes, but, if Churio and Luis Lara are playing against left-handed pitching, I think you can afford to have one of those other two guys in center as a left-handed batter. And I think I would probably maybe go Frelick in that spot, but, yeah, I think by the time Frelick gets back, you give him the runway so he's feeling good defensively.
I just seeing some of the grabs that Lara has had in right field. I'm envisioning him in center because that's where he's played a lot in AAA, and Frelick in right. And see, can you imagine? First of all, they use their bodies. It's going to probably get banged up a little bit, but it's good luck getting anything from center to right. Maybe to get through.
Right. And then you still got Churio in left.
Who has gotten exceptionally better since he was a rookie.
Yes. And no disrespect, Garrett Mitchell's a good defensive outfielder. They've had a lot of the Brewers have generally prioritized good defensive outfield play. And then also you would think once Cooper Pratt gets back to shortstop and hopefully Joey Ortiz is getting at bats every day at third, and maybe it's a spot where you still mix Jake Bauers in there just because you need that bat in the lineup.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. It is kind of exciting to think about. What could that defensive outfield look like?
Right.
Because you can tell there's good. Gary Mitchell's a good defensive outfielder, but then you see a guy like Lauren or what we've seen out of Freelick, and you're like, okay, that's
different.
another level above.
Yeah, that's different. And I know Mitchell had the nice catch to kind of preserve that game, but it's just it looks more comfortable with Lara and Freelick. I don't know if that's the right word when they go and make a play out there, but Lara looks a lot more comfortable out there too.
Yeah, and that just takes time. I mean,
you
hear the thing all the time about when minor league outfielders get to the majors, the toughest thing they got to get used to is like the extra levels.
Yeah.
There's no minor league stadiums that have like a third and a fourth deck.
Mm-hmm.
You're just not used to that in your sightline.
Right. I do like the fact, because I don't think we see this a lot for younger players. Lara is a very emotional player. When he makes a play, he gets pumped up out there, and I feel like a lot of times those younger players maybe just kind of hold it in check, and because
it's a bit Lorenzo Cain like.
Yeah.
And obviously that's high praise, and I know Brian Anderson had kind of brought that up. After the catch Lara had made. I think it was in the Wednesday game at the Padres.
Mm-hmm.
Or someone did. Maybe it wasn't. I think it was Brian Anderson because I don't think he was there.
Dillard or Levering was on
maybe
that
it was Levering.
Final. Yeah.
Maybe it was Levering. I forget. But yeah, there's just and to me with Lara, and even though it didn't happen necessarily in a couple of the catches in the Twins game, there's just a smoothness to his defense.
Yeah.
Like you just you can tell okay, it's a bit Mike Cameron like, where Mike Cameron never looked like he was out of sorts, and he was a tremendous defensive outfielder.
I always said that about Blake Perkins. It was just kind of that comfy comforter blanket that he was going to make the play. So, all right, we're running a little behind. We got to take our final break as we approach the final hour here. We'll be right back after these quick words. All right, just a few minutes left to the top of the hour, so we'll get to the final hour here in just a skosh. But hey, another quick reminder. I know we got a little bit yet till the regular season starts, but Pro Football Pick'em Challenge is up. You can win some gift cards from Wisco's. Shout out to Home Oasis and Wisco's for that. So just go to our website, sportstalk1051.com, and get your picks signed up.
I'll be signed up again. I got to try to avenge.
Yeah,
I actually remember to do them all last year.
That a boy.
Usually, because I would do them like a week or two in advance.
It's around Thanksgiving, like the holiday stuff is where it screws me up.
It gets a bit of a grind. So.
Yep. So,
but no, it's always fun to see where everybody stacks up and.
Exactly. So.
Gotta beat Luke.
Texter Brian says, I'd love to see the Brewers have the 1 seed in the playoffs. So.
I mean, it would be nice because then you're avoiding. I mean, if you're the 2, if they're the 1, let's put it this way: if you're the 1, you avoid the divisional round against either the Braves or the Dodgers. But the Cubs are there too. But it's just nice to have home field advantage if you can.
That's kind of the big thing, right?
Right.
So. Otherwise, the other mindset is you're going to have to beat good teams to get to where you want to go.
It's helpful.
Regardless. But, so, yeah, we'll talk some more baseball coming up in the next hour as we get kind of look at the rest of the series. If you watched the Packers preseason game yesterday and you want to give us your thoughts on who you think really stood out to you other than a kicker, Trey Smack. That's everybody's pick. But if you want to give your scouting analysis on that, you can hit us up with a message, 715-830-1912, or hang out in the Section 105 chat room. So go ahead and do that as well. So, but yeah, and if you want to, we did all our cream of the crops, but if you still want to chime in with some of your cream of the crops, feel free to do so, and you can send those on over too. So, but Bucs schedule is out. Sorry, there's only 2 nationally scheduled games, and they're both against.
I was
the
just saying,
Heat.
take a guess which ones they are.
Can you imagine too if Giannis doesn't play in either one? But that's not completely out of the realm.
No,
I mean,
no.
It's
It's what it is.
It is. So, you know what? Let's talk a little college football coming up in the next hour too, as we get closer to kickoff for college football. I know Badgers are doing their fall camp practice, so we're getting closer and closer to Notre Dame, Wisconsin at Lambeau Field. So we'll even throw in a little college football talk too in this crazy final hour, which probably has Brandon all pumped up and excited.
Love me some college football.
Yeah, I like your mindset too. I keep bringing it up on how you're approaching this Badger football season, and I think that's the right way to have it.
Yeah.
So, but speaking of which, by the way, Graham Mertz sounds like he tore his ACL last night.
Yeah, no fun
for the
no
Texans. So, but all right, shot clock's gonna cut us off. News updates. We'll be back in just a skosh. All right, final hour kicking off on this Friday morning. TGIF. Hopefully you're all off to a fantastic start and maybe getting ready for the weekend here. Still trying to figure out something. I want to. Okay, had to do it once. There's 6 die.
Well, share what you got.
Ooh. I got 1. I got 2. I got 2 threes.
This
4
isn't
and a
Yahtzee.
5.
This isn't Yahtzee.
I do like a good game of Yahtzee.
Oh yeah.
Underrated game, I think, is Yahtzee. So, still looking for what kind of segment idea can we do with this? It's got to be 6 or 5 because it comes with 6, but we might just do the 5 and
We could do 5. I feel like what we got to do is like, if we figure out a segment that we associate with each number, and then basically try to roll for something.
Okay. But how do you if we do the 5 dice in there? That's the problem.
Yeah.
Like it'd be easy if we're just 1 and be like.
No, but I mean like, ones represent
football.
Yeah, or something like that, and then you just roll. We each do like one where like you're doing the shake of the day.
Yeah. Okay. Have to fine tune this.
Yeah, we'll discuss this. Yeah. There's something here.
There is, and it's just gonna
take a little. It's just gonna take a little time.
It's there for the grabbing, and not quite sure what it is yet. But we're on. It's got to be. Yeah, you're right. It's a shake of the day type of theme. But how? Yeah. Okay. It's got. I think a podcast would have to probably.
Yeah. No. And that's it. Like it's a. Once we get back into rolling with like podcast, like doing podcast stuff on Fridays, like. Mm-hmm. A good way to kind of pick, okay, what are we doing here? Like, is 5 represent like a top 5?
Yep.
And it's almost like, do we almost have to like roll like a week in advance, maybe, so people know.
I think so.
Like, if it's a top 5, then we know what it is. A week.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. All right. So hey, we're open for suggestions. So if anybody else. Where's Tim in the Cooley region? Because when we ask for suggestions, the team, we need Timmy.
Yeah, Timma
needs to come up.
Came out firing on the our superior idea for the City Connect.
Yep.
I guess the State Connect in this.
Also, ever since somebody mentioned fish fry,
you got a rumbly in your tumbly, or
I did. I might want to find one tonight. So if you got any suggestions, where to go, hit me up. I'm always up for trying one new, too. Come up with a list, the tour. That would be kind of fun on a Friday if we did some, but we do it at 6 o'clock in the morning. I don't know if anybody serving a fish fry at 6 in the morning, so. Hey.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'd eat a fish fry at 6 o'clock in the morning, but.
Yeah, I would, too. We got Game 2, Brewers, Dodgers tonight. Robert Gasser tomorrow. Jacob Mizorowski. Sunday, Logan Henderson. So... But we'll make some picks at the back end. You know what I just thought of? Should have if Matt Fry is going to be in Eau Claire.
Yeah, why didn't he reach out?
I don't know.
He could have stopped by.
He could have. I don't even know if he was listening, but Matt Fry could have stopped by. You should tweet at him or text him and be like, dude, could have stopped by the cave and did the one time. Do you have his number?
I think I do.
All right. He's probably already at Carson Park.
Probably.
Which isn't far from here.
No, it's not.
So, Matthew. But anyways, if you want to send over some Packers players outside of Trey Smack, you can do that. Or maybe something that kind of concerned you. Or like, oh gosh, what the heck, that player's in big trouble. But, hey, really quick, San Francisco is going to have the 2028 All-Star Game.
Baseball?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Providing the short flight for players participating in the All-Star Game to also play in the Olympics at Dodger Stadium. So
I guess that makes sense.
Yep, because we know next year is at Wrigley.
Yep.
Is the All-Star game. But
take that, American League.
Do you think he'll ever be back in Milwaukee?
It's going to be a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Like they got the token bid after obviously when the stadium opened, but it's just I don't think it's not a destination location for him.
Yeah, I would agree. They'd have to do, or maybe like some major upgrades, or like, gosh forbid, a new stadium again already. But
it's like when like Minneapolis got like the Final Four in the Super Bowl. It's like, okay, we're gonna give it to you because it's a new stadium, but it's not one that's going to be in our rotation of like once every 7 or 8 years, where it's like, oh, they're going to Houston, they're going to New Orleans. Like those are always in there.
Yep. Which, by the way, I know we had some fun with it yesterday, but the Bears did come out and say we are not switching the city name because there was a rumor out there.
There was a rumor.
Which I still kind of like, okay, I'd be surprised, but if they did, wow. Yeah, like
Bears fans, you would not hear the end of that ever.
No.
No.
So wherever they're going to be playing, it's still going to be the Chicago, which is right. It's the right decision.
I mean,
the fact that it was even rumored, they would have to be getting paid a boatload of cash.
Oh my gosh! Right.
For them to say that,
but that's not going to stop us from making fun of you for it.
No. But it threw the question that I would be curious to hear from Packers fans. Okay, what if all of a sudden it was changed to Wisconsin Packers? Even though it's within the state, I still think I don't like that. I wouldn't like that. Even though it's still Wisconsin, I would not like that.
I think there'd be pushback on that.
I agree. I mean, I get it's almost kind of like, since I have it here, I found this the other day. My old Woodchucks program. From the Northwoods League.
Whoa!
1999, 98. $2. $2 for
Dang, in 1998.
Yeah.
That'll buy you like 2 rolls of sprees.
But so I was going to go through here and see if there was anybody. I should just hand this to you if you
I kind of want to see this.
So they played Rochester. Here's the rosters. See if you know any name. Did anybody make it to the big leagues?
All right.
Because I do have some autographs.
Yes.
Who?
Yes. Wausau Woodchucks. Former Brewers pitcher Wes Obermiller.
I thought that name sounded okay. Yep. All right. Yes. I don't think I had his autograph.
Yeah. I went to a game where Wes Obermiller outpitched Johan Santana.
Nice.
So yeah, that's okay. So that's.
You want to know how old this is? So I was flipping through this. There must have been some sweet coupons or something in here because there's stuff that's ripped out of here. But so this was okay. They say Wausau Woodchucks on here, but I mean Wisconsin Woodchucks. Remember that too?
Oh yeah.
So it was that for
that's the only one I recognize is Wes Obermiller. But one of the outfielders for the Honkers is a pretty sweet name, Valentino Pescucci.
Okay. All right. So I'm looking at some of these autographs. I'll just give you the numbers on here. They're all Woodchucks. Number 9.
For the Woodchucks is Brad Tapper.
Okay, that looks good.
He's from Osney.
All right. Number 17.
Chris Luce.
Okay, that looks right. So, okay, no names. Number 8.
Zach Swisher.
Like Swisher Sweets?
I was thinking like Nick Swisher, but he's from Cincinnati. He went to Xavier.
All right. Number 4.
John Winter. He's from Wausau. Went to Southern Illinois.
Number 2.
Chris Walker. He's from Joliet, Illinois, and he went to Purdue.
And then I think this says 26.
26 is Marcelo Garofalo.
That would be right.
He was from Ohio State, or he went to Ohio State.
All right.
The Ohio State.
So whatever the Woodchuck mascot, the bat that he's holding, I used to have that bat too.
I want to see that book.
Yeah, here you go.
But yeah, we had one major leaguer I recognized,
and I didn't get his autograph.
And it was a Brewer, and it was Wes Obermiller, whose son, I believe, pitches in I think it's the Phillies organization.
Okay.
Which he's lefty, and it's weird because Wes was a righty, but I guess that happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, take a look. I found that when I was digging these Sports Illustrateds out to put them in frames. So I had it sitting here the whole time. But
wow, like the Northwoods League mileage chart, like it's crazy how there's only like how many fewer teams there are.
Mm-hmm.
You got Austin, Brainerd, Grand Forks, Kenosha, Rochester, St. Cloud, Waterloo, and Wausau.
Yeah, because this was before Eau Claire had the Express.
Yeah, because
And I remember how. So we were the team of the night. The Wilsey Lions were the team of the night. It was because one of our teammates got nominated through Hardee's. And that's how it got
You bet.
Picked.
They went and jumped in the ball pit to celebrate.
Oh, man. But, gosh, 98. So that's 28 years ago, right? No.
Heck yeah, the first promotional night of the year was sponsored by Fazoli's.
Good breadsticks.
Let's rock. Unlimited.
Fazoli. I don't even think Wausau has one anymore. I thought I saw like a couple years ago they tore it down. Anything else?
Well, they were giving away a Packers magnetic schedule, which is interesting.
Packers one, huh?
There was a NASCAR night.
Ooh. Yeah, what are some of those themed? Are you going to? Is that a list of theme nights?
Yeah, it's promotional nights.
All right. What other ones we got?
Oh yeah, here we go. Dare recognition night. Let's go.
Dare. Do they still do that in schools?
I don't know.
Teachers, do they still do dare in schools?
Because I had heard over the years that actually in some cases that had like a reverse impact.
Okay. I remember having like
I remember
assemblies and that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, I remember it.
Yep.
The black shirt with the red writing with the letters.
Yep.
Day bow bow. I mean, otherwise there's nothing else.
Okay. We can't come up with any fun ideas. Speaking of ideas, before we take a break, I have an idea.
We should do a Dan Kasper growth chart. Actually, maybe we should do it just this one since he's the tallest.
I want to do. Tell me if this is dumb. I'll probably never do it. I'll never do it. But it's like the movie Wedding Crashers. I'm an ideas man. I thrive on enthusiasm. The quote. I want to do one of these days. It'll never happen because it's a pipe dream. A one day. You know how like they have the home shows, trade shows. I think they're having like a travel show or something. I saw some signs for it. A man cave show where it's okay. We got athletes doing autographs. We got sports cards, memorabilia stuff for sale. We've got if you want to people that could sell items for like man caves, some sports decor, some hunting, some fishing, some seminar. I want to make it like a full on man cave show. One day only at some sort of center and do it.
The center.
And maybe if he's even listening anymore because he has dropped the ball on this, that's when we do our Pine Wood Derby Race Surveyor Sam. Just, I still want to do that too. Like man cave trade show. You're just enthralled in that program, Souvenir Magazine, as they called it.
I'm interested here.
Do they still even do stuff like that anywhere? I mean, Packers have one, I know, but
I think they do. Because when I went to Timber Rattlers game, I got a little book.
Okay,
that's kind of similar.
All right. Gosh, good times. I still remember going to a Packer game as a kid, and I would read Elliot Wolf's bio. Because I'm like, how do I get involved with, and it just always bugged me because creative writing was his degree in college. This was before I went to college or just started going to college. I'm like, what's the degree I need to get in this? Elliot Wolf was creative writing.
Well, you needed the degree in
a last name Wolf.
Right.
Yeah. That might have helped too. From the University of Miami. I did find his personal Facebook page when Facebook first came out. Didn't add him though. So, all right, let's take a quick break and we'll get back to some other nonsense here in the final hour. We'll be right back in just a couple minutes. All right, we are back, and we've got about 40 minutes left. So, getting down to the wire here. If you want to send us some players who stood out to you in last night's training camp. I keep calling it training camp games. Preseason game for Green Bay. Otherwise, we've got Brewers at Dodgers taking shape. How involved? Do you pay attention to your team's preseason games? There,
I do. I'll watch.
What are some of the
usually the first two?
What are because the third one's a new fourth one.
Yeah.
Unless you were Jeff Fisher. Wasn't it Jeff Fisher that always played his starters the first half of the final one?
Well, Mike Zimmer was a lot more aggressive doing that. And granted, I mean, even in like the 4 years since he has not been coached, like a lot has just changed league-wise, I think, with how teams approach training or preseason games.
Yeah. Well, I might as well ask you because I asked Dr. Crow this. Kyler Murray officially named starting quarterback. I mean, I think we all knew it. I mean, was it just one of those, okay, let's just move on from this, no more drama talk, and here's how we roll sort of thing?
Yeah. I mean, it was J.J. McCarthy was going to have to significantly outplay Kyler Murray to kind of leapfrog him for that.
Yeah.
So, I like the fact that the decision was made before the game because, I mean, I don't think you should put a whole lot of stock in what happens tomorrow regardless, good, bad, or indifferent. I think the thing that a lot of people are talking about, and so far I've only seen one person bringing up, but apparently the Minnesota Vikings are holding down J.J. McCarthy and forcing him to be the backup quarterback per Adam Schefter with the way I'm just making fun of the way he worded the tweet where it was like, okay, Kyler Murray named J.J. McCarthy forced to be backup. It's like,
jeez.
And he rightfully got a lot of flack for that. It's like, okay, your Michigan-ness is kind of shining through here, but no, to be serious here though, it is. I mean, it was the expected result, and it sounds like Kyler will play tomorrow. Probably not a lot, but you should like a series, maybe I guess 2 if that first series is short. And honestly, I think J.J. McCarthy should play a ton in the preseason because he just needs playing time.
Yeah.
When you look at that quarterback group for the Vikings, I think between J.J. McCarthy and Max Brosmer, they should take about 99.5% of all spring keep calling it spring training, training camp.
I call it training
reps,
camp games, and
because after the first game, like you don't need Kyler Murray out there. Carson Wentz does not need to play in the preseason. Like he knows the offense. Like he doesn't need third string guys trying to make the lineup. Trying to make a name at his expense. Like by taking some unnecessary hits. Like he doesn't need to really play much.
Right.
So if I was the Vikings, I would play J.J. McCarthy a ton just because he needs the live reps. He just hasn't had them. A combination of injuries and other things. Like he just hasn't gotten a lot of live action. And while you can't learn everything from the preseason, like there's just no substitute for it. So he should play a lot in these 3 games.
I know a lot of people are having the conversation, and I get it. Should he be traded now? Should the Vikings trade him? And JJ doesn't want to be, and I get it. But it's such a weird start to his career because when he was a rookie, he essentially missed his whole rookie year, and then. He played in 10 games, started 10 games last year, won 6, I think was the record. But you just kind of knew last year was like his rookie year. And I get it. Okay, third year now, he gets benched. A lot of times that doesn't work out. Maybe you change the scenery. It worked for Bryce Young to start, get benched, and now he's come out and he's not saying that's going to happen here. But I don't think Minnesota's in any rush, nor should they be, to move him.
The only way they should consider trading him is if J.J. McCarthy had told them he wanted to be traded, because then it becomes a distraction from McCarthy's own words. Now it's not it's not a distraction. He wants to be in Minnesota, and I don't think it's a bad thing if he is able to just practice behind the scenes, because he's never had that. You mentioned he got hurt as a rookie and he never got those reps, and then last year those reps were very inconsistent because he kept getting hurt. So I think that could do him a lot of good, to be honest, because that's just what he needs. Like, even you go back to college, like he's the guy that between the college and the pros has not thrown 100 or 1,000 passes, and you think about there's quarterbacks that in 2 years have done that.
Right.
Like, he just needs reps. He needs to be healthy and get reps. And knowing that, look, there's a decent chance he's going to have to play at some point.
So let me ask you this, though, from your your standpoint, what if Kyler Murray pulls a Sam Darnold this year,
Then you keep him.
and then you move on from JJ?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think it's as simple as that,
Yeah.
right?
No, I while you can't like, what's the word? I'm trying to think of the phrase for it, but basically, like, I'm sure they wouldn't want the Sam Darnold thing to happen again.
Yeah.
But it's like, at that point, if Kyler Murray gives you a certain level of quarterback play, I think you can't let him go. You can't let him go out walk out the door.
No.
And I think the other thing too is, because that's kind of been something that has kind of been maybe a bit of a point of contention with Vikings fans. Like, well, what if he has a good year? Then you have to pay him $50 million. It's like, well, you don't probably have to pay him $50 million. Because a good comparison for, I mean, unless he's an MVP caliber quarterback, but like, a good comparison for him is like, look at what Daniel Jones has gotten. Look at Sam Darnold got. Like, those guys did not get $50 million. Like,
it'd be like a 3-year deal.
Yeah, like a three. Yeah, like, is it 30, 35? Maybe 40, maybe. But if he's playing at a certain level, like, you can do that. Like,
or a Malik Willis type.
Or
of deal.
like, yeah, like there's within the last several years, there's really like a middle class that has developed with quarterback contracts.
Mm-hmm.
Going back a little bit further than that to Jordan Love or Trevor Lawrence, whoever, like, it was almost like, okay, if you have a young guy and you think he's good, you have to pay him, 40, like $50 million. Now, granted, that number has changed. Remember, that's always not your cap hit. That's always, and we always know the NFL, like, contract details are always very kind of wonky.
Yeah.
Someone can say, oh, he's making $50 million average annual value, but it's not.
Right.
Like, so, but there has a middle class has developed for quarterbacks of that caliber, and Kyler might fall in that range where you go back a little bit further, that wasn't necessarily there when Kirk Cousins was around. Kirk Cousins was able to maximize his earnings in part because he always got guaranteed contracts, and you can't move that money around enough.
Right.
So I think there was an avenue where they could do that if that worked out that way and still be a potentially good team.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I just don't think if Kyler Murray has a good year, that you can just say, okay, well, we're going to let you leave. Thanks for the year. Unless, I mean, J.J. McCarthy would have to be like the second coming of like 1998 Randall Cunningham behind the scenes for that to happen. And
what about Jeff George?
Or Jeff George? Hey, Jeff George had the last half of 1999.
Yeah.
I will stand on the belief that, like, Jeff George had one of like the 3 biggest arms in NFL history. Like, if you watch, like,
yeah.
When you watch the ease at which he threw, like, there were other parts of his game that weren't always,
This brings up another segment idea that I want, like random players we like draw somehow.
Well, that could be like, that was something I thought of for like one would be like, remember a guy.
Yeah.
And we just talk for like 10 minutes about.
Yeah.
And I guess I don't know how we would decide who that random guy is. Maybe we pick it.
Yeah. Do you follow Aaron Schatz on Twitter?
No, but I'm familiar who he is, yeah.
So he does this like almost every day. It's just random football card and posts it. And I'm like, God, that's something like that.
Yeah, like, remember that guy?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, like Jeff George would be one.
Oh, 100%. Remember Hersey Hawkins?
Yeah.
See?
And that's it. Like, we could just get going.
Yep.
But like,
exactly. God, well, there's something there we just got to find.
There is.
This thing.
There is.
All right. I got a bugaboo about a Brewers narrative that's kind of, I think, spiraling out of control here, but we got to take a break.
Okay.
And maybe I'm overreacting, but it's a bugaboo of mine. So let's take a quick break. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. So, kind of breaking news, maybe. Brandon and I are going to test it during our next commercial break. We might have the dice game figured out. That's all I'm going to say. So we're going to test. We're going to test this hypothesis.
Yes.
And
we're gonna run a. What's the like word for it? Not like a test. We're gonna run like a.
It's not an experiment. Kind of is, but
kind of. But
there's I know what you're saying. There's
we got an idea. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, we're gonna run with it. Okay. I've been seeing this more and more, and I don't know. Maybe I'm downplaying it. Why are there Brewers fans saying this was the best win of the season last night? I mean, I get coming back from that, but I don't know if I'd say.
Given they're coming off the sweep, given the Cubs are kind of we're starting to breathe down their neck a little bit, given us the Dodgers, and maybe I could make you can make the case for it, I think. And then given the fact that how the first innings went, where it just seemed like, okay, this is how many times have we seen this game again? I mean, this was literally every game of the NLCS last year.
Yeah.
And then to kind of be able to pull the nose up the way they did, like I could see it.
Maybe I'm coming at it from the approach where I don't want it to be the best game of the. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
If that's the best game,
it's the best game of the year until the next best game of the year pops up.
Yeah, it's just
right.
And I think it's what do you define as best?
Yeah.
Because some people say, well, no, Mizorowski's near.
Well, maybe best isn't the right word. Maybe like the biggest win, like because that's different.
Yeah.
The most important win.
See, my thing, I guess, it's the most important one. Maybe I'm old school, and this is the stupid mindset of like well, the most important one's your next one. You can imagine a coach saying,
yeah,
that,
but like
right?
the most important one so far, because that that leaves it open to like, okay, well, look, if they come back and do,
Mm-hmm. But the thing, honestly, it will probably change.
100% will. Like, you hope it does.
Right.
And that's the thing. But, like, that's why I don't mind it. Because I think I understand. Like, to me, I get what people are probably going for. And, look, at the end of the day, it's a meaningless title. Like, it's not like it's worth anything to say, oh, that was the biggest win of the year so far. But, like, I understand the rationale behind it for the reasons I mentioned earlier.
Mm-hmm. Yep. No, yeah. So, I mean, I get the rationale. I don't know if I'm ready to I don't know if that's just recency. Like, I get the excitement, enthusiasm. It was a great, comeback. Because, yeah, when I saw, okay, Max Muncy hits a 3-run shot, yeah, they ain't coming back.
Right.
And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, they did. Single. Brewers' way of doing it. So, but, yeah, it is what it is. But I get it. It's a talking point. It's a good win. But what if they get blown out tonight? Does it matter then?
Maybe not.
Yeah, that's the other part. But that's baseball,
but
right?
If they get blown out tonight, then was it even bigger that the fact that they found a way to get that one last night?
That's true.
So.
But what if they do the same thing tonight? Now we're just getting down to that. Now we're just.
What if they're down 5-2 in the ninth and come back? I mean, if they do that again and it's Edwin Diaz, then he may not be pitching again in the next game. So.
And that's that's baseball though too. We go through these so much game by game, and there's another one. There's another one.
It's such a day-to-day thing.
Yeah, and I know it annoys some people that you're overreacting to one. It's kind of what you do though with baseball. It's not football where we just have all week long and those single games matter.
Right, and it lingers. I mean, if the Badgers were to beat Notre Dame, we'd probably be talking about that for a bit.
Oh yeah. Which, by the way, speaking of,
I know you want to talk college football, so I had to.
Badger football here, college football. So kickoff is nearly upon us, Brandon. When is the first college football game?
Week 0 is.
I hate that.
I know. Honestly, if I was in charge, that might be when I would consider wanting to start games, because I think if you move
29th.
Yeah, there's a select number of games then. I would move them up to that weekend before Labor Day, because then that gives you a little bit more room on the back half to end the college football playoff earlier.
Mm-hmm. That's 2 weeks from tomorrow.
It is 15 days.
The Bill Belichick's versus TCU in Dublin, Ireland.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's not a super noteworthy first stretch of games, but
hey, ND North Dakota State
making their Division I debut against Jacksonville State.
Yep. That's still kind of cool to see them on that
It is.
schedule.
That's fun.
But okay, so we're starting to hear more stuff about Wisconsin, some good stuff, right? Let's be honest, talking about overhyping, getting hypes up, and
It's hype season.
it's hype season. At what level are you kind of maybe starting to buy into it here a little bit, like starting to get into this thing?
I'm excited I want to see what the run game looks like, because year 2 under Jeff Grimes, bringing in Eric Mateos as offensive line coach, I think could potentially be a move that pays big dividends, because he's had really good lines he had him at Arkansas, at Baylor. There's a connection with him and Jeff Grimes, the offensive coordinator. They coached together at BYU and Baylor. Like, I think they're a little bit more simpatico on the same page. And it would be nice if they just kind of got back to, like, you know, I mean, like, I would say Wisconsin football, but basically like Wisconsin football kind of updated a little bit, where, like, I think you can still be a smash mouth run first type team, but do it out of like shotgun sets and with the quarterback run option. Like, I think you can do that. But just offensive linemen that are a little more going forward instead of going back. Like, just guys that are just basically, they, like, it's almost like sometimes, like, to be a running team, it's not just what you do, it's who you are. Like, that just kind of, once again, you have a group of guys that embrace that. Like, look, we're going to be that, we want to be the Wisconsin team that comes out and just smashes your face off, run the ball. Like, we're going to run the ball, and if you're going to beat us, you have to figure out a way to slow it down. Like, offensively, that's what I see. And then, you can build the deep passing game off it. Like, I like the concept of what Jeff Grimes wants to do. And year 2, maybe that's just a little bit better fit for it. At some point, they have to get some quarterback health luck, right?
Right.
Like
think.
that, I can't blame on Luke Fickell. The fact that the quarterbacks just haven't been healthy, I can't blame that on Luke Fickell. If this is the year where they finally get a quarterback that plays all 12 games in the regular season, if that's Colton Joseph, I think good things can happen. There's running back depth there. Abu Sama the third, Darian Dupree did some good things last year. There's some other guys in there. Like, the defense, and the defense last year was good. They could force more turnovers, but they did a pretty good job of limiting opposing teams. I mean, there were games they were in. They were in the game against Oregon. There were some of these games that they, with a better offense, had a shot to win. But the offense just has to be a little bit more dynamic.
Right.
And I'm excited to see what that looks like.
Your Army team just extended their head coach too, so you're going to see some more triple options.
I hope so. And even, like, we've seen the service academies, even kind of, it's not strictly like, a double wing style triple option attack. They incorporate some other stuff, but it's still a big part about what they do. And that's still important. Like, one of the many things I love about college football is there's such a variety. NFL, for the most part, teams do a lot of the same things. It's just like, do you have the better players or not?
Right.
College, you need to be able to have that, variety in there. I don't want to see everybody doing the same thing.
Right. No, I'd agree with that. So, all right. Should we take our break and
let's
then,
do it? Let's test run this.
Test run it and make some picks to wrap up this program of ours. We'll do that. We'll be right back in just a couple minutes. All right, before we get to our picks, well, we got about 11 minutes to the top of the hour, so I think we got it.
Yeah, we've
got the dice game figured out for a topic segment.
For
a podcast segment.
Yes.
So it's based off of 7-14-21.
The popular bar game.
Yes.
But we are not rolling for shots.
No, we're not doing.
We're not doing that, but we're using the same idea where, depending on there's certain numbers where if you reach that number, you pick something.
So first to 7.
Yeah. And you're always aiming for 1s.
Yep. So if you never played 7-14-21, if you're a kiddo, don't do it.
No.
But we're rolling for 1, so we tested it, which
we put
thanks for playing, Brandon.
Yeah. Out of the 21 ones that were rolled, I think I rolled like 3.
So 7 is pick the game. So it's like top 5.
Remember that? Yeah, we'll start brainstorming some games too over the next couple weeks.
Maybe like a Mount Rushmore draft or something like that.
Yes.
So pick the game, and then whoever rolls 14 picks the era.
So 90s, 2000s, today, modern day,
80s, 70s, whatever. Yep. And then whoever rolls 21 or the final. I guess you could roll 2 aces at once too.
Yeah, because then we also got to figure out is there something where if someone goes out because the old the rule was if you rolled 2 aces to go out, there would be 2 shots then.
Yeah. Or passing it to the next.
Yeah, is there something you can do to pat? Yeah. There's a few things we still got to figure out, a few wrinkles yet. But
and then last one is topic. So it could be what we did was just for example.
Well, what you picked because you picked them all
was top 5 90s sitcoms.
Just for the heck of it, yeah.
Or we could do top 5 90s
fullbacks.
Yes,
something like that. Yeah.
Yep. All right, I think we're on to it. I think you're right, though. We probably should do it the week before.
So that way we have a little time.
And maybe we can throw it out to the rest of peeps, too.
And that's nice, though, because once we get going, it's okay, well, we have this week's topic, and then at the end we roll, and then we kind of leave that as a teaser for next time.
Right. Yeah. So
maybe I'll even get to roll some 1s one of these times.
Should we do some picks?
Let's do it.
All right. Let's start off with... screw it. Let's start off with some preseason football.
I feel like at one point, that was preseason baseball, or that was spring training baseball.
See, now you can't even say spring training.
No, I'm all mixed up. Where you were I am not picking preseason baseball. Back when we were
training baseball. They got lines.
I'm just leaving.
They got lines though for these games, dude.
My gosh.
Green Bay did not cover last night, by the way. Denver, Atlanta tonight.
Atlanta. Big
Denver's
night for
favored
Jack
by
Strand,
3.5. I'll go Atlanta. Tampa and the Jets. Jets are favored by 6.5 in this game.
I will take the Jets to win, but not to cover.
I would take Tampa. Why not? Miami and Washington.
Miami.
They're favored, too, 3.5.
Oh, my gosh.
It's probably the only time Miami's going to be favored all year, too. So why not? Well, the Jeff Hafley era begins tonight. Carolina, Buffalo.
Carolina.
Cleveland, Chicago. It's which team has the best backup quarterback?
And that's pretty much it. I'm going to go with the Indiana Bears.
No. Deshaun, Shedeur, Dylan Gabriel, don't matter. Browns. Minnesota versus your Giants.
I'm going to take Minnesota. Big. They're going to cover that 2.5.
The Harbaugh era begins.
Oh.
I'm going Giants. Ooh, Super Bowl preview. Rams, Chiefs.
3 players that would play in that game might be playing in this one. I'm going to go with the Chefs.
I'll go Rams. Let's go Jaguars versus Saints.
I'm going to go Nolans.
I'm going to go Saints, too. Philly, Baltimore.
I'm going to go with Baltimore.
Is Snoop Huntley still there? The Pro Bowl quarterback. Baltimore. Let's go Dallas versus Seattle.
I'm going to go with Dallas.
I'm going to go Seattle. So, all right, let's get to games that matter. Baseball.
I'm just laughing because I was actually looking at the lines. Why is the Jets one so big?
I have no idea.
All the other ones are 2 or 3 points, and the Jets are 6.5 for some reason.
I have no idea. I don't get it.
But seriously, if you are betting on preseason football, get help.
Well, maybe that's another segment for us that we should have done is putting lines on preseason football. All right, Cardinals, Cubbies.
I'm gonna take the Cubs. They are red hot.
Yeah.
Even though they almost got no hit last night.
Yeah, I'll go Cubs too. Miami versus Cincinnati.
Miami.
Boston, Pittsburgh.
Boston.
White Sox, Tigers.
White Sox.
Baltimore, Tampa. Padres, Guardians.
Padres.
Jeez. Washington, Mets.
I'm gonna go with the Mets.
I'll go Washington. Diamondbacks, Braves. Yankees, Blue Jays.
Yankees.
Mariners, Houston.
I'm gonna go Mariners.
I'll go Houston. Royals, Angels.
I am gonna go. Ooh, that's not a good one. I'm gonna go with the Royals though.
Hey, you get a ticket for $7 for this game. I'll go with the Royals. Rangers, Athletics.
Rangers.
Colorado versus the Giants.
Oh, Colorado.
Ooh, I'll go Giants. And then, so they already played one, so it's either
the next 3 games.
Yep, next 3. Okay.
Yeah.
Brewers, Dodgers.
I'm gonna go Dodgers. I'm gonna say the Brewers come out with a split. I'm gonna say they lose tonight, they win tomorrow, then they lose Sunday.
Okay. I'm going to say win Dodgers, but they split. So overall, it's a split series. So, all right. Those are. I think that's that. We don't have like a Monday night spring training or see now I got it. Preseason game.
No.
Okay. It's just that didn't seem like a lot of games. So, but I guess we had some last night, so that makes sense. So, all right. There you go. That's picks for us this morning. I thought we did have. Let me bring this up. Mike says, as the Brewers go 8-2 in their next 10 games, we will look back to last night's game and say it was a huge win, but it's a little far-fetched to say it was the biggest game of the year.
It's one of those things that's always just tough to, like, we're always so much prisoners of the moment.
Yes.
Like, yeah, he's right, though. Like, if we go, like, if a week or two from now, when you know a little bit more of what came after it,
yeah.
Like, but yes.
It's almost kind of like, not exactly, but after a Super Bowl, it's like, oh, it was the best Super Bowl ever.
And then it's like, okay, yeah, but
it was good. It's great.
You know, like the Falcons Patriots. Oh, that was a great Super Bowl. It's like, well, the final quarter and a half was.
Yeah.
Or, you know.
Exactly. Like,
I remember at one point it was a 25-point game.
It was a boring game for a long time, and that's where I still don't think it gets a lot. Everybody pays attention to the final play, but the Malcolm Butler stuff. Overall, that was a really good game. It was a tight game. It was a close game.
Back and forth.
And it ended on a really great play.
That doesn't always happen.
Yeah. So, but, all right, we just got a couple minutes left here, but I think we're on to something with the Shake.
Yeah.
Or we don't. No, it's not a Shake a Day game, but
yeah,
we just maybe a play off both of them. Shake a game. Something.
Are we gonna?
Where's Tim in the Cooley region? He's good with names. Come on, Tim.
Yeah. There's still gonna be something for like giving it or taking. Like there's
something.
Yes.
There's got to be something there that's appropriate. I don't know what it is.
Yes. Well, we got time. Like I said, we've got the important parts figured out. It's just fine-tuning it to take it from good to great.
Yep. I would agree with that. All right. So, again, you are going to be going to scrimmage.
Heading over to DeRay Field after this to check out some scrimmage, Chippewa Falls, Eau Claire North, Northwestern, and Sparta.
So this is the first time for a lot of these teams to be hitting somebody else besides them.
Right, and that's kind of been as I've been talking with the coaches, you know, they've pretty much all had their scrimmages day. So it's like that's always kind of the thing. It's like it's gonna be kind of nice to hit somebody else.
Yeah. So, well, it's kind of hard to believe that they're going to be out on the fields already next week for games and games that count and standings that matter.
Oh yeah.
There's been a lot of change. You mentioned it too. New coaches like Altoona. Menominee, North.
Yep, this was a year where there's a fair amount of turnover.
Yeah, but Chippewa Falls still Coach Reykjavik.
Year 42, I believe, for him
overall, or just at Chippewa?
No, he's been I think maybe it's 41.
Okay.
41 or 42 because he started in 86, so I just got to do the fingers and toe.
Well, I born in 86, so.
Well, I know,
so
but then I was born in 85, so.
It'd be his 41st season would be now.
Yeah, I think that sounds right then. Yeah.
Yep.
So
just at Chippewa or overall?
Just at Chippewa.
Okay.
Because then when you it's over 50 years coaching football.
That's
overall,
what I thought. Because
he also coached at not Crivets. School up there. I forget what's the name of it? Northeastern part of the state. Grandin.
Okay.
There it is. I'm thinking, yeah.
I only had Cleghorn in my mind. I don't
Foghorn,
know why.
Cleghorn. No. And then there's a couple years he did some college stuff too. So, but
Okay.
yeah, yep.
All right. So.
Yep.
Okay. For the rest of you though, have a good weekend. Get outside if you can. If it doesn't rain, I think it's supposed to be nice. Maybe.
Okay.
I don't know. Who knows? But we only got about a minute left here. So, any other final parting thoughts, words of wisdom?
Your Jerry Springer final thought, and this is my final thought. No.
Don't overreact to preseason games.
No.
People, just stop.
Don't do it.
See a lot of people saying the only highlight was Trace Mack last night. Good. I wanted him to be the only highlight. Get him all the work that he possibly needs for a rookie quarterback, and people are already complaining about that. So
is he battling Brett Conway for that job? Or?
Hey, because of Brett Conway, we got Ryan Longwell. Just saying. That it worked out. But.
This is how it should have worked for Packers quarterbacks. You don't always get Ryan Longwell, Chris Jackie, and Mason Crosby. You need to mix a couple tough ones in there.
Okay. Have a good one, everybody.